What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 9TG Chapter 176 The Launching Ceremony. I want to become a righteous marine. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. All the members of Z-Way Pirates spent nearly 2 days recuperating on Warship Island, and then continued to head towards Reversing Mountain. As for Colonel Mouse, he has been released by Sikong Ye after getting the approval of Mr. Garp. When Colonel Mouse returns to Rog Town to report on his duties, he will be punished for multiple crimes and the death penalty. As for the old Millennium Dragon, Sikong Ye has searched all over the Warship Island but there is no trace, which is a bit regrettable. After 5 days of sailing, the 2 ships of Emperor Star and Barati successfully arrived near the Reversing Mountain. That's right, Redfoot Zap finally decided to return to the Grand Line to start a new journey. Upside Down Mountain, located at the intersection of the Red Line and the Grand Line, is an incredible and dangerous mountain. In addition to passing through the Calm Belt, the Grand Line can only be entered from the Upside Down Mountain, so the Upside Down Mountain can be said to be the starting point of the Grand Line. At the same time, the other side of it is the end of the New World, which can also be said to be the end of the Grand Line. There are a total of 5 sea lanes on the inverted mountain, which are roughly X-shaped. The current flows in and out. These 4 sea lanes connect the 4 sea areas of East Blue, West Blue, South Blue and North Blue, and the last sea lane flows into the Grand Line. 4 of the seaways are affected by ocean currents, which allow water to flow upwards against gravity, leading directly to the top of inverted mountain. Seeing such a scene that violated the common sense of physics, Sikong Ye seriously doubted that Newton's coffin could not hold down completely. The other members of the Z-Way Pirates all opened their mouths wide open, looking at the scene in front of them in shock. Is this the Upside Down Mountain? Aren't we going to run into each other? So tall. As the chef said, the red line goes straight to the clouds, and you can't see the top of the mountain at all. I saw the sea path, it's so thin, the water seems to be going upstream, it's like climbing a mountain, it's unbelievable. Let me see, everyone spoke in amazement at the magic of Reversing Mountain. Little ones, according to the custom, before each pirate group enters the Grand Line, they will perform a launching ceremony and tell their dreams. In the Balati restaurant, Jeppu folded his arms and said to Z-Way and his group. The reason why Jeppu went to the Grand Line with the Z-Way Pirates was because he wanted to lead the way for Z-Way and the others besides recovering his disability and wanting to chase his dreams again. The launching ceremony. Sounds so interesting, Captain. Why don't our Z-Way Pirates do a launching ceremony too? There are little stars in Luffy's eyes. The rest of the crew also looked at Sikong Ye expectantly. Sikong Ye smiled helplessly. This group of guys just had a lot of time to spare, but he didn't have the enthusiasm to discourage the crew. Life still needs a sense of ritual. So, Sikong Ye asked Kebi to go to the kitchen to get a big bucket and stand it on the deck. The sky is clear and clear, without the precarious atmosphere in the original book. Sikong Ye looked at Nami. This weather is not good, why don't we pick a rainy day and then go into the sea ceremony? Nami. My dear Captain, the next few days will be sunny. Nami suddenly got angry. You are Chinese cabbage on a rainy day, can you choose? Besides, is it auspicious when it rains? How about Nami, you can get some lightning bolts out to help the fun. I said, little friend Sikong, the launching ceremony has nothing to do with the weather. Even if it has something to do with it, thunderstorms are definitely unlucky. Jeppu saw Sikong Ye whimpering and was about to hit the Reversing Mountain, but what auspicious day he was, he couldn't help but remind him. All right, seeing this, Sikong Ye was no longer entangled. Indeed, as Jeppu said, thunderstorms are unlucky, and the original Straw Hat crew had a bumpy journey. It may be that the launching ceremony did not pick a good day. With one foot on the wooden barrel, as the captain, Sikong Ye took the lead in expressing his dream. I want the Z-Way Pirates to reach Raftel and become the strongest pirate group in the sea, no Wong. Jep's pupils shrank slightly when he heard Raftel. This kid actually knows about Raftel, it's not easy. Then there's Luffy. I'm the man who's going to be One Piece. Kuina stepped lightly on the wooden barrel. I want to become the #1 sword god in the world. Seeing this, Zoro was not to be outdone. I want to surpass Kuina and become the #1 sword god in the world. Want to surpass this girl? If you have lost 3,000 times in a row, you should go to sleep. Kuina looked disdainful. Except for Sikong Ye and Luffy, she was no match for her in the whole group. Not to be outdone, Zoro said, HMPH, I will surpass you sooner or later. Kuina and Zoro are still dissatisfied with each other. Even if Zoro has been losing to Kuina, he is still getting more and more courageous, defeating and fighting repeatedly, and wants to compete for the position of the world's #1 sword god. For a while, all the crew members fell silent. The same dream means that one of Kuina and Zoro will not be able to realize their dreams one day in the future. Well, what's the fight between you two? When you two reach the peak of your swordsmanship, you can take turns taking the position of the #1 sword god in the world. Sikong Ye looked indifferent. Zoro. Kuina. Captain, are you kidding me? Seeing the faces of the two people seeing a ghost, Sikong Ye didn't bother to pay attention to these two guys who didn't know how to adapt, and simply glanced at the rest of the crew who hadn't spoken yet. Karina stepped on the barrel first. I want a lot of treasure. Nami also jumped out and echoed. I also want a lot of treasure, of course I want to be the best navigator. I want to be a fearless sea warrior. I want to be an excellent chef and find the Sea of Legends. I just want to be a pirate, and I don't have too many ideas. Ace's speech was very brief, and he didn't mention his dream. I want to change the world. Sabo's dream shows his pattern. I hope all the partners on the boat are safe and sound. Kaya's thoughts are very simple, as long as the partners around her are doing well, then she is already satisfied. I don't have any dreams for the time being. I don't know if planting oranges counts. Nuo Kagao obviously really didn't have any ideas. In fact, this is also normal. After all, there are only a minority of people who have dreams at this age. In the original Straw Hats, it may make sense to have dreams, but the dreams of other supporting characters are not so strong. Asking for flowers. I want to collect all famous knives. My dream is very simple, as long as Senior Sikong doesn't abandon me. After hearing Bartolomeo's shy appearance, many girls got goosebumps. I want to live a peaceful life, and of course it's best to live a peaceful life with my friends. Makino's words were very flat. After speaking for a while, Kebi, who was only trembling, did not reveal his heart. Amid the encouraging gazes and words of support from everyone, Kebi finally mustered up the courage to shout out his dream. I'm going to be a marine, everyone, quack quack. It seemed that a flock of crows floated past the Emperor Star. Tashigi covered his face. There's no need to say this kind of thing. Just now she just mentioned her dream of collecting famous knives. Kebi can completely fool her with fishing. No wonder Kebi is so honest. Everyone looked at Kebi with extremely weird eyes. .00 a pirate, actually threatened to become a marine during the launching ceremony of the Z-Way Pirates. What do you want? Jeppu opened his mouth subconsciously when he saw Kobiham jumping into the marine. Good guy. I call the abandoned guy. Since you want to be a marine, why are you here in the Z-Way Pirates? Undercover. This is a proper Barb Wolf. What my brother means is that he admires the actions of Vice Admiral the Ghost Spider and Colonel Mouse, appreciates their style. Tashigi tried to save the situation, but as soon as she said this, everyone's expressions turned from weird to angry instantly. Although Z-Way and his gang belong to the pirate camp and are not considered good people, they consider themselves to be different from the Ghost Spider Vice Admiral and Colonel Mouse. If Kirby has such a dream, then they may re-examine Kirby, and Kirby's older sister Tashigi. No, I don't want to be a marine like Ghost Spider and Colonel Mouse, I want to be a just marine protecting the people. Kebi raised his fist resolutely, as if taking an oath. He naturally knows that telling his true dream will make his partners wary of him, but he doesn't want to lie about his dream. If he didn't even dare to face his own dreams, then he would rather die. Seeing that the scene had cooled down again, Sikong Ye had no choice but to stand up and smooth things over. Ahem, Kebi, you have a good dream, but you don't necessarily need to join the existing marine if you want to become a marine. You can build a more just marine yourself in the future. If you have this idea, I will definitely give you financial support and give you a marshal position. Apparently, Sikong Ye planned to stand on his own calendar for Lackby. It's a pity that Kebi had already joined Garp's command ahead of time, so he obviously wouldn't betray Marine, so he politely declined. Captain, thank you very much for understanding my dream, just asking me to check in for a new Marine. I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up. Seeing that Kebi didn't have this intention, Sikong Ye was somewhat disappointed. Chapter 177 Cross the red line, and negotiate with Crocus. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 241 4 Kanji 10 by Ji Bu Sheng Dian Now plus HP Prelude Shang Kai Shi by Ji Bu Sheng Dian Now Show T Bao D13 Die Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. The effect of the ship's heart and mind will only make Kebi's sense of belonging to the Z-Way Pirates reach the level of Marine. However, Sikong Ye believes that the seeds planted this time will definitely take root and sprout in the future, eventually replacing the old Marine and establishing a new Marine. After all, the internal problems of the current Marine are too serious to be cleaned up, and a brand new Marine is needed to enforce justice. Kirby will realize this sooner or later. Sikong Ye smiled and waved his hands. You are not confident enough now. When you want to build a new Marine, come to me as soon as possible. Zoro wondered. Captain, aren't we pirates? Why do we go out of our way to help Kebi build a new Marine? Kirby won't put a bounty on us if he becomes a Marine, right? Sikong Ye winked at Kebi while answering Zoro, fat. Captain Dare, do you want me to release the water? It's just that Kirby didn't refute this time. He thinks that the Z-Way Pirates are all good people. Although they are pirates, who said that there are no kind people among pirates. In the original book, Kebi never captured the Straw Hat crew from the beginning to the end. During the Summit War, Whitebeard also stood up after his death and expressed his willingness to end the 073 fight, which is enough to show that Kebi is a reasonable person. Rather than those arbitrary Marines who talk about benevolence, righteousness and morality, but never consider for the people at the bottom, and never speak for the bottom sailors. For this alone, Kebi is a worthy partner. Don't get inked, hurry up. If you don't end the ceremony of launching into the sea, you will hit the red line, and you will really go into the sea at that time. Jeppu urged, saying that he was going to drive Belati to the front of the Emperor Star, obviously intending to lead the way for the Ziwei pirates. Sikong Ye has no opinion on this, and other crew members also agree. After all, Jeppu has been to the Grand Line once. The Emperor Star is getting closer and closer to the seaway, and the sea current is getting more and more turbulent. Nami has already gone to the captain's room to control it wholeheartedly. After the Emperor Star has been upgraded to the 3rd level, it is already a sailless ship, and its navigation is entirely driven by electricity, without the assistance of other crew members. With Jeppu leading the way ahead, it was smoother than when the original climbed the upside-down mountain. The current sends the boat up all the way, as if it is on the sky. Soon, the Emperor Star rushed into the clouds, and after driving for a certain distance in the thick fog, everyone suddenly had a feeling of seeing the sun through the clouds. The dazzling sunlight shone on all the members of the Ziwei pirates, and everyone felt their hearts surge and couldn't help their blood rushing up. After driving another distance, the Ziwei pirates finally saw the top of the mountain, as well as the mist and rainbow surrounding the top of the mountain. That unusually gorgeous scene was deeply imprinted in everyone's hearts. Even when Zap entered the Grand Line for the second time, he was still amazed by the sight. After crossing the top of the mountain, you can see that there are 3 seaways that are the same as the ones they came up from, all of which are countercurrent from bottom to top. And on the left side of the East Blue Seaway, there is just a downward current. Belati and Emperor Star entered this downward current one after another, all the way down, passing through the clouds, and everyone's vision was clear. However, when they noticed that the exit of the Grand Line was blocked, they immediately lied. Why is there a mountain in front of me? It's not good, I'm about to hit it. When Usopp was facing death, he broke his power in an instant and returned to the timid long nose again. Nami was also panicked. As the second most timid crew member in the whole regiment, Nami suddenly forgot to operate the Emperor Star to evade. As a veteran who has entered the Grand Line for the second time, Jep is obviously aware of the existence of the island whale Laboon in Twin Point. It's just that he didn't encounter Laboon blocking the exit last time, so he passed easily. Sikong Ye also recognized Laboon, and now controls the Emperor Star to sail in the opposite direction, so he can definitely stop before hitting Laboon. But then Zapu's Barati restaurant could not be kept. After thinking for a while, Sikong Ye quickly ran to the captain's cabin to drive the Emperor Star to accelerate in the opposite direction. At the same time, he unfolded the built-in mechanical arm of the Emperor Star, and controlled the mechanical arm to firmly grasp Barati in front of him. Click. Perfect grab. The mechanical arm is the function rewarded for completing side missions before. It is practical, easy to operate, and its durability is estimated to be not low. At least there was no damage from grabbing Barati. With Sikong Ye's operation, the speed of the 2 ships finally slowed down, but Barati still hit Laboon before coming to a complete stop, and the fish head of the bow was seriously deformed and damaged. It's a good thing we drove in the back, otherwise the bow of the Emperor Star would be destroyed. Luffy looked like he had survived the catastrophe. Hey, what do you mean? You're gloating when the stinky old man opens the way for you. Sanji suddenly became unhappy. Sikong Ye jumped off the boat and searched around the lighthouse but did not see Crocus. Could it be in Laboon's stomach? Sikong Ye guessed. Little friend Sikong, are you looking for Crocus? Seeing Sikong Ye's unusual behavior, Jeppu was a little curious. Now he couldn't understand this white-haired and purple-eyed boy more and more. He knew not only Raftel, but also Crocus. It's not at all like a rookie pirate on the Grand Line for the first time. Well, that old guy has good medical skills, so I plan to win him over. Sikong Ye didn't hide anything. In fact, he not only intends to win over Crocus, who has medical skills, but also intends to win over Zap to join the Avengers. Similarly, the former Nagli is also among Sikong Ye's wooing targets. Moreover, Na Jelly once lost to the One Piece King Luogia, maybe Na Jelly and Crocus still know each other. In addition, Jeppu has been to the Grand Line and met Crocus, and the 3 should be able to chat. At that time, the 3 people leading the team, plus the 3 guys who have become heroic spirits, Saki, Namur, and Tezolo, can set off a 10th level typhoon on the Grand Line. As for Buggy and his group, even if there are hundreds of Chloes leading the team, they can only hang around in East Blue. Bringing them to the Grand Line is courting death. Therefore, Grand Line must establish a new Avengers alliance and recruit more powerful people to join. Little friend Sikong, with all due respect, that old guy Crocus has a bad temper, and it's almost impossible to get him out of the mountain. Jeppu persuaded him that he had dealt with Crocus and was very aware of the latter's temper, and wanted to remind Sikong Ye. Who is speaking ill of me? A vicissitudes of life voice suddenly appeared, with a slight dissatisfaction in the tone. Sikong Ye and others followed the prestige and saw the whale Laboon open a door from the side, and an old man in a floral shirt with flowers on his head that looked like a peacock appeared, standing at the door and watching Jeppu quietly. At first, he just subconsciously asked back, but when he recognized Jeppu, he couldn't help being surprised. Why are you here again? Could it be that you feel that Upside Down Mountain is like riding a roller coaster, and you want to play another round? Hash. For Crocus's ridicule, Jeppu was also a little helpless. Long time no see, Crocus. Not long, only a year. I can't talk today. I didn't expect you to have a second round tour. You are really lucky. It's a pity that there are not many people as lucky as you in this sea. While sighing with emotion, Crocus jumped to the shore and came in front of Sikong Ye. Boy, I heard that you fancy my medical skills and want to win me over? Then you are a bit whimsical. I will not leave here. Hearing this answer, Sikong Ye was not surprised at all. If Crocus agreed easily, it would not be his turn. Over the past few decades, there must have been countless people who wanted to recruit Crocus, and as a result, Crocus was also on Luo Jia's thief ship, which is enough to show that this guy has a high vision. But Sikong Ye is not in a hurry. He has whole cards, and not one, but four. One by one, Sikong Ye really didn't believe that Crocus could stick to the bottom line. Oh, are you sure? Sikong Ye walked to the wooden table unhurriedly, and the old god was sitting down, with a look on his face that you will definitely regret. Seeing this, Crocus became a little interested, so sitting opposite Sikong Ye, he took out a newspaper from his arms and read it, without any intention of asking. It was clear that he wanted to see who could sit still. 52. Sure enough, Ginger is still old and hot. Crocus's indifferent temperament. Sikong Ye's 10-year-old body is at most 5.6 and can only imitate 7 or 8 points. I heard that there seems to be one member of the Rumba Pirates alive. You're talking nonsense. When he heard the words, Rumba Pirates, Crocus lost his composure, and threw away the newspaper in hand, staring intently at Sikong Ye's eyes. It seems to want to see that Sikong Ye is lying. However, when facing Sikong Ye's still calm purple eyes, Crocus only saw confidence and plainness. Seeing this, Jeppu was a little dazed, standing on Barati at a loss. What's going on? How do you feel that little friend Sikong knows Crocus better than me? The crew of Ziwei pirates were also at a loss, not understanding what the Lumba pirates Sikong Ye was talking about. However, they all patiently listened quietly, wanting to know what their captain and Crocus were talking about. Are you interested now? As long as you join my power, I will tell you the truth. Sikong Ye's mouth raised. What Sikong Ye said was power, not pirates, but Crocus didn't notice at all at the moment. All his attention was focused on the Rumba pirates. Why should I trust you? Chapter 178. The head can be broken and the blood can bleed, and the hairstyle must not be messed up. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 241 4 Kanji 10 by Ji Bu Xing Dian Now plus HP Prelude Shang Kai Shi by Ji Bu Xing Dian Now Show T Bao D13 Die Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. Sikong Ye knew that it would be difficult for Crocus to believe the straightforward language, so he immediately cleared his throat, secretly manipulated the music player on the Emperor Star, and turned the volume to the maximum. Under the astonished eyes of everyone, Sikong Ye sang along with a melodic violin accompaniment. Yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho ho ho. With the sound of wolf roaring in the accompaniment, Ziwei and his group were stunned. Is this a wolf? However, when Sikong Ye sang the lyrics, they were stunned. Guess C Meiju toast, facing the wind and rain and the huge waves, under the clear sky, my favorite flag is flying. Looking at the distance together, that picture is so longing. In the sky, the birds are circling and chasing the sunset. Leaving the familiar port, I miss my hometown the most, singing a melodious song together. What an unforgettable childhood. A fragile body, because it is full of dreams. Tianya Heijao, a majestic man, let me wander. Binks wine toast, friends are by my side. On the sea, you and I are chasing hope. The waves accompany me to sleep. The boat is home and a safe haven. The skeleton flag fluttering in the wind brings me strength. Opening a new chapter of the era for their respective dreams, the sound of drums spread everywhere in the sky and C-14. No matter how big the storm is, bravely move forward without hesitation. A man, this is how you should live a wonderful life. Picture scrolls are presented in front of everyone. Scenes of memories rush to their hearts, like waves that stretch on and on for a long time. Luffy and the others couldn't help but think back to the adventures during this period. There were joys and battles, going against the wind and the wind, sweating every day, and life was full of excitement everywhere. Everyone's eyes are brightening, and they are sure that this is the life they want. This is the adventure they yearn for. Jeppu opened his mouth and fell silent for a while. He has also heard this song, and it has been a long time since he heard this song, which reminded him of his previous adventures and those friends. It's a pity, as Crocus had told him before, he was still able to swim in 2 rounds, but many pirates in the sea were not so lucky, and his partner left the sea forever. When the island whale Laboon heard Binks whine, his huge eyes filled with tears and he couldn't help whimpering. The voice is very soft, as if you want to sing with Sikong Ye. Yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho ho ho. Binks wine toast, midnight show alone, drunk, reminiscing about the past time in my dream. Stay by my side all the time, like the bright moonlight, sprinkled on the sea. It's another beautiful night. Binks wine toast, the music is playing again. Put aside all the songs of the sea, let's sing together. So what about the long journey? What about difficulties and setbacks? We have wine, we have friends who party until dawn. Yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho, yo ho 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 ho. After the song was over, Crocus was already in tears at the moment, and his trembling hands completely forgot to wipe away the tears. This wine by Binks not only reminded him of the Rumba pirates, but also the Luogia pirates. He has seen countless pirates of all kinds in Cape Twins these years, but the Lombard pirates and the Luogia pirates left a deep impression on him. A pirate group made a promise here but failed to fulfill it. A pirate group invited him to witness the scene of Raftel. Now things are different, people are dead, those who are arrested, and those who are alive are also kept anonymous, living a life of reminiscing about the glorious past every day. Unlike Crocus, on the Emperor Star, all the crew members were shocked by Sikong Ye's singing, and they didn't recover for a long time. In the lyrics, the persistence for dreams and the freedom to take risks are vividly displayed. Reliable partners, sweet wine, wonderful melodies, novel adventures. Everything depicted in the lyrics made them feel surging. It took a full 10 minutes before Crocus adjusted his mood, and quickly wiped away his tears, but his mouth was extremely arrogant. The wind and sand are a bit heavy today, and it actually blows into my eyes. Sikong Ye kept a calm face. Now is the time for negotiation. As a professional negotiator, you generally don't laugh unless you can't help it. Fortunately, he held back. Ahem, although this song brings back my memories, it doesn't prove anything, unless you can tell me the name of that person. Soon, Crocus regained his composure, and Sikong Ye was able to sing Binks' wine, obviously knowing something. But it is obviously impossible to make him believe what Sikong Ye said just by relying on the oldest and most widely circulated track in Pirates. The name Brook, I don't know if you have any impression? Brook? Is that the one who is not only ugly, but also always likes to look at girls with afro? Crocus pondered for a moment, recalling what Brook looked like back then. Ugly? Do you like watching little girls? Sikong Ye thinks these two descriptions are quite appropriate. Before he turned into a skeleton, Brook really didn't look good. If you go to make ghost movies, you will definitely scare a group of people to death. No, even if you go to make ghost movies now, you can still scare a lot of people to death. As for liking to look at girls, it is indeed Brook's characteristic, but this guy is also talkative, and like Sanji, he is a guy with a lot of lust and guts, but he is also an extremely gentleman. A gentleman here, literally, but Sikong Ye felt that Crocus's description was missing a little bit. The head can be broken, the blood can flow, and the hairstyle can be messed up. This is the true portrayal of Brook, although Brook can still have his head cut off now, and there is no blood to bleed, but if his hairstyle is messed up, it will definitely explode. After all, the afro is the only thing Brook can identify with Laboon. That's impossible. Brook is almost 80 if he's still alive, Crocus retorted. Most importantly, if there are still people alive in the Rumba Pirates, why haven't they come back to visit Laboon after so many years? Moreover, when he traveled around the Grand Line with the Luogia Pirates, he didn't see any member of the Rumba Pirates at all, and even heard the news of the Rumba Pirates' destruction. Therefore, please remain skeptical about what Crocus said about Sikong Ye. Brook ate the fruit of the underworld before his death, and was very lucky to survive a naval battle, but unfortunately, he was trapped in the sea area of the Devil's Triangle and got lost and couldn't get out. Regarding Sikong Ye's explanation, Crocus said suspiciously, I'm afraid you are telling a ghost story. Sikong Ye. Not to mention, this is indeed a ghost story. Ha ha ha. Just kidding, I believe what you said, and I will go to the sea area of the Devil protagonist to verify the authenticity. So, you agreed to join my forces? Hey, I didn't agree, I just confirmed to you that Brook is still alive, but I never promised to join your force. Crocus shook his head. Since he knew Brook's approximate location, there was no need for him to join Sikong Ye's command. 52. Am I being tricked? You dare to plot against me, you old man, you have narrowed your path. Originally, Sikong Ye intended to show his sincerity in order to win over Crocus, but he didn't expect that the old 523 didn't talk about martial arts, and he didn't feel guilty at all for lying to him about a young man. Since you are not benevolent, don't blame me for being unrighteous. Crocus, the former ship doctor of the Luogia pirates, if it wasn't for you, Luogia would have died long ago. Why? Sikong Ye's voice is not small, Ace on the Emperor Star can just hear it. After learning of Crocus's identity, Ace was completely restless. He immediately jumped off the boat and walked straight to Crocus with extremely complicated emotions in his eyes. If you want to say hate, there must be. After all, Ace hated his father's dying words for bringing chaos to the world, and also brought him and his mother an indelible pain. Therefore, Ace naturally hated Crocus for keeping his father alive. If you want to say thank you, you should have it. After all, if it wasn't for Crocus, there would be no Ace now. It is not an exaggeration to say that Crocus is Ace's reborn parent. Huh? What's your business? Crocus was bewildered. Facing Crocus' answer, Ace didn't know what to say for a moment. After all, the old man in front of him was strictly speaking his benefactor. And Luogia's mistake should not be attributed to a doctor. He is the son of your captain, Sikong Ye explained from the side. However, Sikong Ye's understatement sounded like thunder to Crocus. Luogia's son? How has he never heard of it? Oh, there is a gossip that Luogia's woman is in South Blue Batharla, and she is suspected to be pregnant. It's just that nothing happened later. Lien Luokaba didn't care too much. Is it possible that this is true? What's your name? Crocus asked Ace with a trembling voice. Potter cast D. Ace. Chapter 179 Layout Grand Line, Pluton Rayleigh's Wrath. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Potter Cass? Crocus's pupils shrunk. Could this boy be the son of Luogia and Rouge? The pockmarked face is indeed very similar to that hot chili Rouge, but the hair color is inherited from Luogia. It's just that Crocus felt that the boy in front of him seemed to be hostile to Luogia, and it was the kind that went deep into his bones. Son of One Piece Luogia? Everyone in the Ziwe Pirates and Jeppu all opened their mouths wide after hearing the explosive news, their faces full of disbelief. The blood of One Piece is still alive in this world. Sabo sighed, wondering what his friends would think of Ace in the future. If he had to drive Ace away, he didn't think for a while whether to go with Ace or stay on the Emperor Star. Amazing. However, before Sabo could think about it, he heard Luffy's envious expression. If only I had the wings of One Piece. People such as Usopp and Bartolomeo also admired him endlessly, while the expressions of the rest of the crew members were relatively calm, and they did not hold great hostility or disgust towards Ace. Seeing this, Sabo heaved a sigh of relief, and then a smile appeared on his face. He is really happy that Ace can find a group of reliable partners. Your mother she died, so you hate your father? That's right, if it wasn't for him, my mother wouldn't have died. Crocus put his hands on the wooden table, listened to Ace's words without a trace of emotion, and sighed. Luogia really owed their mother and child too much back then, and it was only natural that they were hated. Then do you hate me? This matter has nothing to do with you. After Ace calmed down, he didn't trouble Crocus, who was just a doctor after all. Hearing Ace's answer, Crocus turned to look at Sikong Ye. Are you trying to threaten me by telling this? If Sikong Ye really uses Ace to threaten Crocus, then he will only look down on Sikong Ye, a captain who wants to use even his companions, but he is just the scum of the sea. Sikong Ye frowned slightly, and said with a smile. Mr. Crocus was joking. How can I, the captain of a small pirate group, dare to threaten you? It's just that you have already known this secret. In order to protect Ace's identity, I can only kill you to silence it. Hiss. Knowing that Sikong Ye was going to kill him to silence him, the corner of Crocus's mouth twitched and he took a breath. You said you didn't dare to threaten me, but you dared to threaten to cut me off? Do you dare to take my life to threaten me, kid? Can you be more shameless? Crocus roared in his heart, but he was just a doctor with no strength, and Ace didn't have much affection for him. Shi Shen might be silenced if he refused. Thinking of this, Crocus suddenly had a sense of sight of digging a hole for himself to jump. If I had known that I would be threatened, I might as well have agreed just now. Okay, I'll join. 27 Crocus nodded immediately, without hesitation. Seeing Sikong Ye was stunned for a while, this seemingly stubborn old man was actually just an appearance. It seems to be the same in the original book, with the Straw Hats in a posture of fighting, but in the end, he was the first to admit cowardice. Sikong Ye seriously suspects that Crocus was dragged onto the boat by Luogia. If you don't get on the boat, you will be beaten up, and you will be honest if you are beaten up. Isn't it over if you say that earlier? Sikong Ye complained slightly, looked at Kuina secretly, asked him to bond with Crocus, and then turned to look at Jeppu. Mr. Zap, you just heard something you shouldn't have heard. Tell me about your side. Zap. I'm just a soy sauce maker, how did it get involved in me? You think I want to hear you speak so loudly, I don't want to hear it. I'll join too. Jeppu knew that he had been tricked by Sikong Ye, but he had to compromise, just like when Sikong Ye faced Marco. In this sea, the strong are respected, and if the weak cannot learn to compromise, they can only fight to a bloody end. Maybe Sikong Ye will not pursue it for Sanji's sake, but he doesn't want to depend on the relationship between Sanji and Sikong Ye. Furthermore, joining Zanpakutō Senbonzaku's forces does not conflict with finding the legendary sea. Crocus and Zap have already joined, and the next thing is to wait for Nagel and Robin to come to the Grand Line to join. After letting the crew ride Barati into Laboon's stomach for training, Sikong Ye left Kuina and Emperor Star alone. Asked Kuina to release Saki, Namuel and Tezzolo, and after explaining, the three heroic spirits finally accepted their fate. 7 people gathered in the cabin of the Emperor Star to discuss in detail about the formation of the Avengers alliance on the Grand Line. After Crocus and Zap learned that Kuina can contract others to ensure that the contractor will be transformed into a heroic spirit after death and be immortal to a certain extent, they have no sense of rejection at all for joining the Avengers. Eternal life is the pursuit of most people. After learning that East Blue's Avenger Alliance leader Qianlang Buggy is a member of Sikong Ye, they were shocked. In this regard, Sikong Ye waved his hand modestly and said nothing. It's really not a big deal, I'm afraid you don't know, even the master of the internet is mine. However, Sikong Ye does not intend to reveal his relationship with the internet for the time being, even among his own people. For 3 days in a row, Sikong Ye would find a few people to discuss the Avengers' strategy of action from time to time, while all the members of the Ziwe Pirates were training crazily, trying not to drag down other crew members. Sabo de Archipelago 13th District, Shaki's ripped-off bar. At this time, the bar was overcrowded and the atmosphere was not lively. Behind the bar, a short black-haired woman in a spider-patterned blouse was making fun of the red-haired man in front of her while mixing drinks. So, the rubber fruit you worked so hard to find was eaten by that little monkey? The red-haired man was Shanks. He took a sip of the mixed wine and said helplessly, Shaki, his name is Luffy, not a little monkey. Also, I let Luffy eat rubber fruit because of my negligence. Shaki didn't bother to argue whether Shanks was negligent, and said indifferently, Isn't the child you mentioned called Monkey Luffy? I don't think it's wrong. Shanks took a sip of his drink. Forget it, monkeys are monkeys. On the side, the old man with long curly light blonde hair and a beard on his chin laughed. I really want to see those two little guys you mentioned, Shanks. The old man wears glasses, and there is a straight scar on his right eye. It is Pluton Silver Rayleigh, the right wrist of One Piece Luogia. I think it's better for you not to know. Shaki suddenly said something disappointing, which made both Rayleigh and Shanks a little confused. After mixing the drinks, Shaki lit a cigarette by himself and took 2 puffs, saying, I got a piece of news about Rayleigh that you absolutely don't want to hear. Huh? Rayleigh suppressed his smile, put his glass on the bar, and waited silently for Shaki to continue. Xiao Ba is dead, and he died at the hands of Ziwei pirates. Boom. A powerful conqueror gushes out from Rayleigh's body. At this time, Rayleigh is not the old man in the original book, but a strong man at the peak of his strength. The airwave set off and shook the entire bar, coming and going quickly. Obviously Rayleigh has restrained himself, otherwise the ripping off bar will be blown away by the blast. The rest of the Red Hair Pirates crew members were not angry when they saw this, but they all showed concern. After all, their captain is optimistic about Ziwei and his gang, but Ziwei and his gang have killed Rayleigh's benefactor. It would be bad if they turned against each other. Shaki, are you sure? Shanks asked sullenly. This information is absolutely true. Hachi died at the hands of Zoro, a 3-sword swordsman. His body probably cost hundreds of dollars. Boom. Before Shaki finished speaking, Rayleigh slapped the bar counter. He didn't use any force, otherwise the bar would have been reduced to crumbs. Rayleigh just used this way to express his anger. Seeing this, Shanks gave a wry smile. Shaki, you are making a fuss. Good kings. Shanks, this is a grievance between me and the Ziwei pirates. I hope you don't get involved. Rayleigh had a rare strong turn. Deputy Captain. Okay, needless to say, Xiao Ba is my savior. I owe Xiao Ba my life, so naturally I want to seek justice for Xiao Ba. Seeing that Rayleigh was really angry, Shaki exhaled a mouthful of smoke rings and said with a half smile. The information I got is that Arlong and the pirate group want to occupy an island in East Blue, and they also plan to rob Ziwei and his gang of treasures, and even want to kill the crew they like. Are you sure you want to help Xiao Wei? Eat revenge? Rayleigh fell into silence when he heard the words, and only after a while did he spit out a sentence. Grudges are grudges, good and evil are good and evil. Little Ba is kind to me. The Ziwei pirates killed Xiao Ba, and I have a grudge against me. I only talk about kindness and resentment, regardless of good or evil. But this time, for your sake, Shanks, I will keep them alive. After saying that, Rayleigh got up and left the bar, obviously planning to settle accounts with the Ziwei pirates. Seeing this, Shanks thought about it and finally did not stop him. However, everyone in the Red Hair Pirates looked at each other in blank dismay. What did your boss do just now? Why should Rayleigh give the boss face? Is it true that as Sikong Ye said, their boss is a person with the ability to save face? Chapter 180 The Situation at Sea. If you want to reunite, you can kill your brothers twice. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. New World, Moby Dick. Boom. Whitebeard slashed across the deck, the anger on his face completely uncontrollable. After more than 10 days of searching on the uninhabited island to no avail, Marco had no choice but to tell his father the whole story. Teach, I didn't expect you to dare to kill Thatch and Namuel. With a roar, Whitebeard took all the crew and headed towards the Grand Line, and he was going to kill Teach, the traitor. The Whitebeard at this moment is not the Whitebeard in the original book who can't play 50% of his strength in the Summit War 10 years later. Although Whitebeard has gone downhill in recent years, it is definitely better than the 3 admirals at this time. Correspondingly, the temper is much more irritable. This time, he brought 80% of the elite crew back to the Grand Line. As for the land or something, Whitebeard doesn't care at all. All he really cares about is his beloved son and his hometown. Wano-kuni, the island of ghosts. Kaido grinned from ear to ear when he learned that Teach had betrayed the Whitebeard pirates. And when he knew that Whitebeard planned to leave New World with the elite pirates, his smile grew stronger, and he took his men to Whitebeard's site that day. IWC, Cake Island. Bigimamu also ordered his son to take action, intending to take down the Fishman Island. In addition, many big pirates in New World have also started to act one after another, wanting to occupy a place in New World. The major changes in New World were published in the newspapers so quickly that people all over the world who read the newspapers were panicked. Marine has been very busy recently. Naval Headquarters Marineford, a solemn meeting room. Marshal Sengoku sits in the first seat, wearing a pair of frog glasses, a long beard tied into a twist, and a seagull decoration on the military cap 803. Under the cap is an afro that is not as good as Brooks. The first position on the right is Akainu Sakazuki, one of the three admirals. Akainu was wearing a dark red suit, a marine cloak, black leather gloves on his hands, a cigar in his mouth, and a vicious look on his face. The first place on the left is Kizaru, who was in charge of quelling the chaos of the Goa Kingdom, but due to the changes in New World, Kizaru had to be transferred urgently. Aokiji, on the other hand, is responsible for the mop-up work of the Avengers remnants. It's just that the Avengers have spread throughout East Blue, and it's unrealistic to want to completely eradicate them. The Avengers Alliance, like the Revolutionary Army led by Drago, has become a climate, and Marshal Sengoku's plan to arrange two admirals to kill it in the cradle has completely failed. Except for Akainu and Kizaru, General Staff Crane and a group of Marine Vice Admirals have all been seated. Marshal Sengoku coughed lightly. This time you were called here. There are mainly a few extremely serious matters that need to be discussed. All the Marines listened carefully to Marshal Sengoku's speech. 1. It's about cleaning up the remnants of the Avengers. Secondly, it is about the recruitment of the Master of the Internet. The third is about the handling of Whitebeard's return to the first half of the Grand Line. Fourth, it's about Teach's ambition. Fifth, it's about the New World big pirates vying for territory. The Marine generals discussed these 5 issues, and after half a day of deliberation, they failed to come up with a reasonable plan. In the final analysis, there are still too few people. Aokiji, Garp, Doberman and Huo Shaoshan are all busy dealing with the Avengers remnants in the East Blue, and naval headquarters needs Sengoku and Suru. The Sabaody Archipelago and the Holy Land Marijoy cannot be ignored, so there must be at least one admiral who can stay near the two places so that they can provide support at any time. Kizaru was the obvious choice, and if the only Admiral Akainu is sent to guard against Whitebeard, then there is no one to deal with the New World's Grey Pirate. As for the rest of the Vice Admiral, they still need to guard the branches on the Grand Line. Besides, sending Vice Admiral to New World is basically giving away a head. I see, simply bringing Garp and Aokiji back from East Blue first, and then pulling Zephyr out, can have 3 more battle records. Akainu, sitting in the first position on the right, stuttered his cigarette ash and suggested. It's just that Sengoku hesitated. East Blue is the birthplace of the Avengers. If it is not contained in time, it may grow into a force that disrupts the world order like the Revolutionary Army. And the birthplace of the Lord of the Internet is also East Blue. If we don't find out, the credibility of our Marine will be reduced. Marshal Sengoku knows deeply that the Avengers and the Internet, like the Revolutionary Army, are sharp blades that can overthrow the Celestial Dragon's rule. If it is allowed to continue to grow and breed, the order of the world will no longer be decided by their world government and Marine. Marshal Sengoku, the Avengers and the Internet have begun to take shape. Even if we send more people to East Blue now, it will not help. The chaos of the 4 seas and New World will not affect the overall situation, but the Grand Line is a territory that our Marine firmly grasps. Absolutely can't be messed up. T-Dolphin Vice Admiral tried to persuade Marshal Sengoku to give up East Blue and New World, and only guard the 3-acre land of Grand Line. However, after the T-Dolphin finished speaking, Momosagi retorted, "We are Marine, and it is our duty to protect the people. At this time, we must suppress the New World pirates crazily, otherwise they will only get bigger and bigger." Momosagi Vice Admiral is right. How can you back down as a Marine? I think it's better to be on the safe side. If we can't even defend the Grand Line, then isn't our Marine a joke? Everyone you, Bede, talk to me, but still haven't come up with a feasible plan. Kizaru kept trimming his nails and paddling blatantly. In the end, staff officer he knocked on the conference table, interrupted everyone's discussion, and said softly, "I have a plan." The idea that Akainu just said to recall Garp and Aokiji and return to Zephyr is actually the safest plan. Reunification and the Internet are important, but both sides have already become popular. Even if Aokiji and Garp are arranged to stay in East Blue, they will not get much benefit. It's better to let them grow on their own. When they develop to a certain scale, maybe more useful information will be exposed. At present, Doberman and Huashaoshan are enough to support them. Zephyr and Akainu can be sent to New World to guard. Garp is responsible for keeping an eye on Whitebeard, and Kizaru is responsible for guarding the waters of Sabaody, so that Aokiji also has a lot of time to patrol the entire Grand Line for effective prevention and support. Staff Crane's plan was relatively conservative. He did not attack New World hastily, and did not spend too much troops in East Blue, but it could best guarantee the safety of the Grand Line and the stability of the 4 seas in New World. All the Rear Admiral leaders in the conference room nodded when they heard Staff Crane's compromise plan. This is the best way. After listening to Marshal Sengoku, he pondered for a long time before nodding his head and said, "Then according to what Staff Crane said, and in order to ensure that the Marine has sufficient manpower to deal with unknown forces in the future, I think it is necessary to start a national recruitment plan in advance." When everyone heard the words, they all nodded, expressing their approval of Marshal Sengoku's conclusion. Marine is very busy, while Sikong Ye and others are still stationed at Gemini Cape, discussing the action plan of the reunion. The popularization of ideas and the popularization of laws is indeed like a spring in the desert for the people, but I don't understand why the focus must be on the country of Alabasta. In the cabin of the Emperor Star, Jeppu was puzzled. There are so many islands and countries in the Grand Line, why must Alabasta be the core? Is it because Alabasta is a desert? Do they understand the sweet spring in the desert better? Cultivating the mind and popularizing the law are the means for our Avengers to win the hearts of the people. The reason why the core is fixed in Alabasta is indeed related to their desert environment. Sikong Ye explained without haste. If you want to win people's hearts, you naturally need to look for those who are living an unsatisfactory life. If the living standard and happiness index are both high, the two weapons of thought and law will not be able to produce their due effects. Speaking dryly, Sikong Ye finally figured out the logic. J-Poo and the others opened their mouths, not knowing what to say for a while. Wouldn't it make me look stupid if I said I didn't understand it? Seeing this, Sikong Ye couldn't help but rolled his eyes. It wasted a lot of time just to explain some thoughts and laws to Zap Crocus and the others, and the corresponding dissemination work. As a result, a few people only understood a little superficially. Today, he set Alabasta as the first stop for the dissemination of ideas and laws, which naturally aroused the incomprehension of Jeppu and others. Little friend Sikong is what he says, when will Sax and I report to Captain Marco and Dad that they are safe? Namur scratched his head. He cared more about his father and Marco, and Sax also stared at Sikong Ye expectantly, his eyes full of longing. However, in order to keep it secret, Sikong Ye must not expose the fact that the two of them are alive, so he mercilessly refused. A dead person must have the consciousness of a dead person. If you really want to reunite with Brother Xiao Ma, then go and stab your brothers twice. I promise to turn Brother Xiao Ma into a heroic spirit like you. Thatch. Namul. Are you a devil? Chapter 181 3 Pirates, the mysterious and familiar Emperor Chi. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP Pavilion X 361 4 Kun Heiyi Baiji Busheng Dian now 14 EK 1025 TU Yin Se D13 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. The two heroic spirits, Saki and Namur, couldn't help Sikong Ye at all. They both looked helpless, but the next moment they all constricted their pupils. After a while, Tezwolo and Sikong Ye also frowned, and turned their heads to look outside the cabin. In the end, almost everyone noticed the fierce fighting outside the cabin. Although it was far away, the sound of intense artillery fire was still heard by everyone, and those with knowledge sensed the abnormality earlier. Sikong Ye ordered the three heroic spirits to hide in the cabin and not to come out, and he took Kuina, Jeppu and Crocus to the deck and looked in the direction of the upside-down mountain. The top of the mountain is turned upside down, and the cloud garden is lingering. On the long and narrow seaway, the waves are rolling and the waves are rough. The three pirate ships walk side by side, colliding from time to time. However, none of the three parties has the idea of letting the other party go first. This is the indomitable spirit contained in the bones of being a pirate. The ship in the middle is flying the flag of the Whitebeard pirates, and on the bow deck is standing impressively on the bow deck of Marco, who has hunted Teach to no avail. In addition to Marco, there was also a handsome and extraordinary young man on board, who was constantly resisting the shelling from the right side. On the pirate ship on the right, there are three young men with fierce faces and a girl wearing a peaked cap and a mask. The young man in the center wears a hat and scarf, a straight striped suit and a cigar in his mouth. He looks like a mafia boss. In fact, this is also the case. This young man is Capone Beeg of the West Blue Mafia family, one of the 11 supernovas in the original book, the captain of the Flame Tank Pirates, and a strong fruit-capable person. The two youths following Beeg are Werther the Strange Gun and Gotti the Killer. At this time, Beeg is attacking the handsome young man on the Whitebeard pirate ship through dozens of tiny holes in his body. This is the ability of the Fruit of the Strong City, which can turn the body into a castle and store any items, including living things. At the same time, the Fruit of the Strong City can also grow bigger and enhance the defense of the ability user, which is a pretty good fruit ability. Beeg uses the fruit ability to store guns and subordinates in the body in advance, and then allows the subordinates to attack in the body. Bullets and cannonballs will grow rapidly after flying out of Bega's body and hit the target. What appears to be a one-on-one fight is actually a gang fight. On the pirate ship on the left side stood a scruffy white-browed old man and a young man with a white bear hairstyle. Next to the young man lay a lion with a purple mane, shaking like chaff, obviously timid, afraid of being hit by shells. This appearance is completely unworthy of the title of King of Beasts. Senior Nagley, I didn't expect you to return to the Grand Line. Marco stood on the bow with his arms folded, slightly curious. When he was young, he also met this big pirate, and later he heard that he failed to challenge Luogia, so he retired to the mountains. I didn't expect to come to East Blue this time, and I would meet the big pirate who had met a few times before. Ho 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 ho, I've been bored recently, and I want to go out for a walk before I die, and meet those old friends from the past. Nagley took a sip of his pipe and said with a smile. Mochi and Li Ji hid in Nagley and didn't dare to take a big breath. After all, everyone present was an existence they couldn't beat. Especially Marco, as the vice-captain of the Whitebeard Pirates and the captain of the first team, has made a great reputation on the sea. Small East Blue characters like Mochi naturally dare not make mistakes. If it wasn't for Nagley's cover, one man and one lion would probably be scared to pee. Senior is very elegant. Recently, my father is going to return to the paradise to solve some trivial matters. Maybe you can meet again. That's exciting. How is Newgate doing? Father is still the same, but in recent years, unmentionable diseases have occurred frequently, and his health is getting worse and worse. Well, when you get older, you will always have various problems with your body. Nagli shook his head and sighed when he heard that Whitebeard was suffering from frequent illnesses. Even Luo Jia, who is well known all over the world, is still plagued by illness. The three legendary pirates, One Piece, Golden Lion and Whitebeard, could not escape the cycle of birth, old age, sickness and death. By the way, your crew seems to be being beaten by the crowd, don't you plan to help? Nagli shifted the topic to the handsome young man. Emperor Chi is not my crew, but a round sailboat. Marco has no interest in this play-by-play battle between Emperor Chi and Big. Emperor Chi is a wild man he met on an unnamed island. Since there is no trace of Teach on the nameless island, Marco has become acquainted with Chi Di, a savage on the island. Later, Marco was going to return to the Grand Line to join his father. After Chi Di learned about it, he asked him to take a journey. Marco originally refused, but when he thought that many people on the road had a companion who could relieve the boring time, he agreed. Of course, it was only a promise to bring Emperor Chi to the first island of the Grand Line, and Marco naturally would not let Emperor Chi follow him all the time. Just now at the intersection of reversing mountains, Emperor Chi saw Big and started thinking about the opposing pirate ship, so he threatened to recruit Big. It's just that Big is used to being the boss, how could he be inferior? So the two hit it off. This is Emperor Chi's private matter, as long as Big doesn't provoke him, then he won't get involved. On the ship's side, Emperor Chi kept catching all the shells with his hands and rebounded them all. The posture of, pull 1,000 caddies in 4 or 2, take advantage of the situation and take advantage of the situation to open and close, is very similar to the concept of ancient martial arts Tai Chi. Boom boom boom. Most of the cannonballs bounced off by Chi Di collided with the shells fired by Big, exploding clusters of fireworks. A small part hit Big, who didn't feel any pain at all, and still held his cigar in his mouth with a steadfast posture. The strange gun Werther and the killer Gotti hit the boat spoon shells in one hit, like a busy little bee. There was continuous artillery fire and a hail of bullets. On the surface, the fighting was fierce, but in fact, neither side suffered any substantial damage. In this way, the battle between Chi Di and Big has been fought from the top of the inverted mountain to the vicinity of the Twin Capes, and there has been no victory or defeat. In the end, the three pirate ships docked on the shore of Gemini Cape, and under the death gaze of Marco, the battle between Chi Di and the flame tank pirates also stopped at this time. Asking for flowers. After all, Marco, Chi Di and Big have to give each other face. On the Emperor Star, Sikong Ye's eyes lit up when he saw the three pirate ships docking over. Nagli, Mochi and Lakey finally arrive at Twin Point. Sikong Ye glanced at Li Chi, and found that there was a reminder box on the other side's head, which was the same as that of Pochi, indicating that Li Chi could also become a member of the pet ship. In this way, it coincides with Sikong Ye's idea. Sure enough, all the more characteristic rare beasts in the original book can join the battle pet ship. However, in order to avoid being aware of his relationship with Nagli and others, Sikong Ye did not pay too much attention. Even pretended not to know each other with Mochi and Li Kei. And he and Nagli really don't know each other. Regarding the matter of the Avengers, Sikong Ye decided to ask Crocus to inform Nagel that this is the best solution to reduce exposure. Fortunately, Nagel and Crocus are also old acquaintances, and the conversation between the two will not appear abrupt. Nagli, you are old. Crocus, you don't seem to be young anymore. The meeting between Nagli and Crocus after many years is not unfamiliar, but like very familiar old friends. Nagli jumped a few steps aboard the Emperor Star and chatted with Crocus. Xiao Yi, long time no see, I didn't expect you to come to the Grand Line first. How about it, do you want to consider going to see Dad with me? Dad is on his way back to the paradise. Marco jumped off the deck while saying hello, and Chi Di, who was extremely handsome, came down with him. Brother Ma, I found that you have lost a lot of weight recently. I want to take a good risk, and I won't miss the scenery along the way just to meet someone. Sikong Ye also jumped off the Emperor Star and greeted him politely. However, regarding the meeting with Whitebeard, Sikong Ye spread his hands and refused. Now the Whitebeard pirates are completely on the cusp, and he hastily got together to make a relationship, just looking for abuse. And now Marco wants to arrest Teach more in his heart, so Sikong Ye knows that even if he refuses, it won't matter. Okay, I'm sure you'll see Dad soon. If it wasn't for Teach's betrayal, Marco would forcefully take Kaya away no matter what he said, and let Kaya treat his father. It's just that now he has no time to distract himself from things other than Teach. By the way, the handsome guy next to you seems familiar. Sikong Ye didn't want to discuss the meeting with Whitebeard anymore, so he deliberately changed the subject. Of course, he felt that Emperor Chi looked familiar, not joking, but a real sense of familiarity, but he couldn't remember who the other party was and what the other party's name was. Exquisite facial features, fair face, sharp-edged cheeks, body, appearance and temperament that fascinate thousands of young girls, and the majestic ambition hidden in the eyes. The more I look at it, the more familiar Sikong Ye looks. Oh, his name is Emperor Chi. He was a savage I met on an unnamed island when I was hunting Teach. After hunting Teach to no avail, Emperor Chi became interested when he heard that I was going to come to the Grand Line. He's been around for a long time. Chapter 182 Breakthrough teaches disguise. The battle is about to start. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP Pavilion X 361 4 Kun Heiyi Baiji Busheng Dian Now 14 EK 1025 Tu Yin Se D13 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. Emperor Chi. Sikong Ye was taken aback. The name sounded quite familiar. For some reason, he always felt that this Emperor Chi's body, appearance and even his name were very similar to a guy he didn't like. Seeing Sikong Ye lost in memory, Marco couldn't help asking, "Do you also have this kind of familiarity? Maybe Emperor Chi is someone we both knew before?" Chi Emperor. Ahem, you two are probably jealous of my peerless beauty, so you deliberately buried me here? Emperor Chi half covered his small mouth when speaking, and asked the two of them back in a softer tone. In fact, Chidi is Teach who became skinny after eating the slippery fruit. In order to avoid Marco's pursuit, Teach had to remain anonymous. It's just that the appearance and figure have changed under the slippery fruit, and the name can also be modified, but the voice is very difficult to change. In desperation, Teach could only deliberately suppress his voice and try to express a feminine, sharp and delicate voice as much as possible. Even, Teach had to half cover his small mouth to cover the missing teeth, so as not to be noticed by the astute Marco. Hearing Emperor Chi's voice, Sikong Ye felt 963 churning in his stomach. Where did this hell come from? Opening his mouth almost cost him half his life. Fortunately, Emperor Chi covered his mouth when he spoke, otherwise the bad breath might have killed his other half. Subconsciously backing away a few steps, Sikong Ye asked with a little vigilance, "Dare to ask how long Sister Chi Di stayed on Wuming Island?" Sikong Ye seriously suspects that this guy named Chi Di is isolated from the world and has never learned the pronunciation standards of girls. Otherwise, how could he have a weird voice when he speaks? Emperor Chi. I'm tired of it, I'm just a boy. Sikong Ye. Vomit. Hearing the eunuch's noise again, Sikong Ye felt instantly transformed, as if his soul was about to ascend to heaven. He looked at Marco with a trembling voice, "Brother Ma, it's a good thing you can persevere. Is this true love?" Tun tun tun. God's true love. Didn't you hear Emperor Chi say that he is a boy paper? You misunderstood. I understand everything, the love story between boys and men. Needless to say, Brother Ma, I definitely support you. Marco just wanted to explain, but was blocked by Sikong Ye with a word. A man like Marco, who can bear the feelings of the other half silently, and even get used to it later, must have made unimaginable efforts for ordinary people. Therefore, Sikong Ye directly pays the highest respect to Marco. At this moment, Venom suddenly said in Sikong Ye's mind, "Master, I sensed that Teach's network was disconnected." Sikong Ye frowned. Internet coverage is currently limited to East Blue and West Blue. After entering the Grand Line, the network will be automatically disconnected. After all, it has left the internet coverage area. Venom, as a networked fruit-capable person, its network is naturally unaffected, and Sikong Ye was also connected to the network with the help of Venom. If the network is disconnected, except for the user leaving the coverage area, there is only death left. However, from the discussion just now, Sikong Ye learned that Marco did not find Teach, which means that Teach is not dead. In this way, the other party is very likely to leave East Blue. It seems that only Nagli and his party, Marco and Chidi, left East Blue recently. Thinking of this, Sikong Ye suddenly had a flash of inspiration and looked at Chidi's face again. It was a little unpredictable for a while. The sissy and handsome Chidi in front of me, could it be the fat black dreamer Teach who let out a wicked laugh? Teach? Emperor Chi. By comparing the names, Sikong Ye is 90% sure that the guy in front of him is Teach. For a moment, Sikong Ye was shocked from ear to ear by the conclusion he drew. Really see each other in a day, like 3 autumns. I haven't seen him for more than half a month, but the fat black man has not only become thinner, but also handsome. It just doesn't make sense, and this guy is also extremely daring. He just changed his body, appearance and name, and dared to take a ride with Marco blatantly. I'm afraid you really don't know how to ride dead. Sikong Ye was thinking about how to break through Teach's disguise, and then noticed Teach's tightly closed mouth. Xiao Yi, what are you thinking? Emperor Chi and I are just ordinary friends, don't think wildly when you were young. Seeing Sikong Ye lost in thought, Marco thought that the latter was thinking about his relationship with Emperor Chi, so he immediately explained. It's just that Sikong Ye smiled slightly, with a sly gleam in his eyes. Brother Ma, I was thinking that the two of you are really a perfect match. Falling in love and killing each other is like an annual drama of bitterness. Huh? What, love and kill each other? Didn't you recognize it? This Emperor Chi is Teach. After making his guess public, Ji subconsciously distanced himself to avoid. And Marco's eyes became sharp after hearing the word, Teach, but he stared at Chidi for a long time, but he didn't notice any similarities between the two. Teach wiped the sweat from his forehead, covered his mouth and blamed himself. Marco, what are you doing? How could I be that fat black guy Teach? I'm thin and handsome, with tender and extremely fair skin, and I'm not the same person as Teach, that ugly, dirty and even twisted villain. Eh? Good guy. In order to get rid of the relationship, he crazily blacked himself out and boasted, which was completely different from the fat black man he remembered. But there is one thing that will not change, and that is the mentality of not compromising the means to achieve the goal. Now Teach doesn't even mind blackmailing himself in order to hide his identity, which is enough to show that this guy's heart is not comparable to that of ordinary people. Then can you open your mouth and let us see how many teeth you have lost? Sikong Ye smiled like a fox. This. Teach felt a little troubled. The slippery fruit slid off the fat on his body, but it couldn't fill his teeth. He has been hiding this fatal weakness these days. How did Sikong Ye find out? Damn it. Every time I meet this white-haired purple-eyed kid, it's always bad. After Teach cursed inwardly, he stepped back subconsciously, trying to distance himself from Marco. Emperor Chi, why are you backing away? At this time, Marco also noticed the abnormality. Seeing this, Nagli, Jeppu and others dispersed one after another. If Emperor Chi is Teach, it is also a grievance between Marco and Teach, and they naturally do not want to participate in it. Chidi, why don't you answer? Marco asked. Thieves, ha ha ha. I didn't expect to be discovered before I found dark fruit. Marco, you are so stupid, you haven't discovered my true identity for so long. It's not like Sikong Ye, who recognized me just by meeting me. Marco, you are not as good as a 10-year-old child. I laughed so hard. Seeing that his identity was exposed, Teach immediately stopped struggling in vain and changed back to his original voice, his character becoming more and more arrogant. Even though Marco blocked him in Cape Twin, Teach was still calm and relaxed. Compared with Marco, the gap in physical skills is not that big. The key is that Marco has the Phoenix Fruit, and his physique, battery life and flame attack are relatively superior. This made Teach retreat steadily. And now, Teach also has a slippery fruit to assist, and his strength will definitely be improved to a higher level. It's really you, Teach. I didn't expect you to appear in front of me openly after changing your appearance. Today, I, Marco, will definitely tear you to pieces. The enmity between Sax and Namir, plus the enmity he has been played around by Teach during this period, now he has to settle the old and new grievances together. Crane Claw. Marco immediately turned into a half-beast and kicked Teach in the belly. But what he didn't expect was that the crane claws that moved so fast actually slashed across Teach's belly with 8-pack abs. That's the slippery fruit. Seeing this scene, Sikong Ye instantly understood why Teach changed his handsome appearance in less than a month. It turns out that this guy found the slippery fruit. It's just that he never expected that 0.0, the most picky devil fruit guy in the One Piece world, would actually choose slippery fruit, which is not the top devil fruit in Paramecia. Although Paramecia relies on imagination, the upper limit of the fruit is extremely high, and the lower limit is also extremely low, and the slippery fruit can ignore most physical attacks, which is somewhat similar to the characteristics of rubber fruit and chop fruit. However, the ability of slippery fruit is obviously unable to resist armament hockey, and facing a real master, it seems a bit tasteless. Of course, these are Sikong Ye's definitions of slippery fruit based on Alvida's performance in the original book. Maybe the slippery fruit is not weak, it's just that Alvida in the original book doesn't know how to develop it. Brother Ma, Teach ate the Paramecia slippery fruit, which can deflect physical attacks. Try using armament hockey, or attach flames when attacking Teach's body. Sikong Ye jumped on the deck of the Asterisk Weedy while proposing. Kuina walked to Sikong Ye and told the captain through the group that Saki and Namir wanted to play. Sikong Ye thought for a while. There was also the Flame Tank pirates present, and they must not reveal their identities, so they could only shake their heads. Chapter 183 The Development of Slippery Fruit, Zero Friction in Second Gear. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. On the shore of Gemini Cape, after hearing Sikong Ye's proposal, Marco attached armament hockey to his leg without hesitation, and kicked towards Teach again. However, Marco's attack was still slipped away by Teach. Thieves, ha ha ha. You don't know anything about devil fruit. Teach wantonly laughed at Sikong Ye and Marco's ignorance. Although Marco was furious, he was not led by the nose by Teach. He keenly noticed that Teach's attack part was also attached with the arm color, and instantly understood the reason why his attack was slid away. Similarly, Sikong Ye also noticed this scene. Armament hockey can restrain devil fruit in many cases. The most notable case is that armed colors can attack Logia elementals. In addition, the armed color can also cause real damage to some special physiques among Paramecia fruit ability users. For example, Luffy, a rubber fruit capable user, will experience real damage and pain after being attacked by the armed color. Similarly, fists covered with armed colors are more powerful than ordinary fists when attacking zone ability users. To sum up, it seems that hockey is superior to devil fruit, but this is not the case. Hockey and devil fruit are actually two different power systems. Although on the surface, it seems that devil fruit not only has side effects, but is also restrained by hockey, but in fact, the power of many devil fruits cannot be restrained by hockey at all. 14 such as time fruit, door fruit, childlike fruit, memory fruit, slow fruit, backward fruit, etc. are hardly affected by hockey. Another example is shock fruit and soul fruit. Even if the opponent hockey wushuang, it is difficult to resist the ability of these two fruits. In Sikong Ye's view, Haki and fruit complement each other, but also restrain each other. The combination of fruit ability and Haki is definitely stronger than pure Haki. For example, Enel's heart network in the original book. In the same way, Teach combines the zero friction characteristics of slippery fruit with armament Haki, which can slide away Marco's armed attack, which is reasonable from any angle. You can dodge the armed color, so is it possible that you can also dodge the flame? Phoenix Seal. Marco spread his wings and soared, releasing a powerful blue-flamed shockwave instantly, blasting towards Teach. Seeing this, Teach grinned. It is indeed difficult for slippery fruit to defend against elemental attacks. Naturally, he would not block it stupidly, and disappeared in place in a flash, leaving the attack range of the Phoenix Seal. The next moment, Teach's figure came behind Marco, and greeted the back of Marco's head with his sandbag-sized fist. #FR. Although Marco sensed that Teach appeared behind him, his body couldn't react at all. Boom! Marco fell to the ground, making a crater. When the smoke and dust dissipated, Marco slowly got up and wiped the blood stains from the corner of his mouth, and said coldly, "I didn't expect you to hide so much strength." No, my strength was exposed when I fought with you last time. The reason why I can suppress you this time is because I ate a pretty good devil fruit. Teach landed on the ground with the face of a villain. Although the slippery fruit is not as good as dark fruit and Sikong Xiaoyu's venom fruit, it is also a rare top paramecia devil fruit. Hearing that Teach boasted about himself, Sikong Ye was a little surprised. How awesome is slippery fruit? No wonder Sikong Ye doesn't believe it. The main reason is that the original book doesn't mention the slippery fruit too much. In addition, Alvida is a rookie and doesn't have the real ability to develop the fruit. It's normal for Tong Kong Ye to doubt the potential of the slippery fruit. Immediately afterwards, I heard Teach continue to brag. Slippery fruit has a speed comparable to sparkling fruit, and the characteristics of ignoring physical attacks and elementalization, coupled with some special development methods. In fact, it is not weaker than Phoenix fruit at all. After listening to Teach's explanation, Marco may only have a half knowledge, but Sikong Ye understood it in an instant. In the original book, Alvida is barefoot and accelerates through the ramp, which can make himself move as if he is wearing roller skates. The principle is to make bare feet smooth to zero friction, and only need to give a little kinetic energy to move forward at high speed. This is just the effect of zero friction with the ground. If the friction between itself and the air is completely eliminated, the attack speed and movement speed will be greatly increased. Even, Teach can slide out of space and teleport. This reminds Sikong Ye of a pirate fanfic that he has seen in his previous life. The protagonist is a repellent who eats the fruit of repulsion. He can repel everything and achieve teleportation by repelling space. The principle of sliding fruit is very similar to that of repelling fruit, which is why Teach said that the speed of sliding fruit is comparable to sparkling fruit. An extremely bold guess came to Sikong Ye's heart. Thieves, ha ha ha. Let me show you my development of slippery fruit. Teach interrupted Sikong Ye's thinking, and then his skin turned pink, and his pores continued to emit light pink steam. Is this Luffy's second gear? Sikong Ye was shocked, his guess just now came true. Teach did as he expected, activated the fruit ability to smooth the inner wall of the blood vessel, thereby accelerating the blood flow and triggering the second gear like Luffy. No, it's my second gear, Teach corrected, smug. Before, when he was sparring with Luffy in Kokoyaksi village, Teach had paid attention to the state of Luffy's activation of the second gear many times, and thus understood the principle of activating the second gear. In fact, the second gear developed by Luffy is the ability of life return combined with rubber fruit, the essence of which is to increase the physical quality by accelerating the blood flow in the body. Teach's skillful use of slippery fruit to accelerate blood flow can also have a similar effect. Call out. Boom. At this time, Teach's speed has been improved to a higher level. Marco only felt a blur in front of his eyes, and then he flew upside down and smashed the lighthouse. Sikong Ye opened Sharingan and Bayan, barely able to see an afterimage clearly, presumably only Mangekyo Sharingan can see clearly. Under the ruins of the lighthouse, Marco lifted the debris on his body, and rushed directly to Teach regardless of his disheveled image. A punch condensed with blue flames and arm colors hit Teach, passing through his body, and Marco didn't feel any blockage. While he was in a daze, someone kicked hard in the back of his waist, and his whole body bumped into Teach's body, also passing directly through his body. Afterimage. Marco's fighting consciousness is top-notch, and he understands it in less than a second. It's useless to just understand it. Marco was kicked again while he was still in the air, and then he was kicked around by Teach like a football. Seeing this, Sikong Ye shook his head. It seems that Marco can't beat the current Teach. This also made him understand that the reason why Teach dared to come to the Grand Line on Marco's sailboat was obviously fearless. Kuina, you guard the boat, I'll help Marco. Sikong Ye confessed, covering his whole body with the venom suit. Xiaoyi, do you need my help? Jeppu leaned forward and asked. Sikong Ye shook his head. It's better to keep a distance between us. The cryptic words made Jeppu instantly understand Sikong Ye's intentions, and he stopped talking immediately, and moved closer to Crocus and Nagel, chatting while watching the battle. The fallen angel's wings unfolded from behind, and Sikong Ye instantly spread his wings and flew into the air, aiming at Teach, who was moving at high speed. Was a black feather storm. In an instant, a large piece of black material simulated wings shot towards Teach like a rain of arrows. 223 Teach saw this, immediately dropped Marco, and ran towards Sikong Ye without dodging or evading. The black wings swept across Teach's body without causing even the slightest injury. Sure enough, it still doesn't work. Sikong Ye just ordered the venom to try to attach Teach through the wings, and the result is obvious. Teach's body is too smooth to stick to it at all. The trick of cloning the properties of the slippery fruit was shattered on the spot. Second gear. Sikong Ye instantly entered the second gear state, and activated the physique cloned from his partners. His fists were covered with armed colors, and he attacked the flying Teach. It's just that Teach is extremely cunning. He obviously has the advantage in face-to-face punches, but he insists on going around behind Sikong Ye to launch a sneak attack. Ashura mode. Sikong Ye transformed into superhuman and six-armed, all-round defense without dead ends, and stretched out his hands behind his back to meet Teach. Boom! The two fists collided, resulting in an explosion, and Sikong Ye was blown back to the ground by the airwave. This time, the physique opened by Sikong Ye also contains Usopp's bomb fruit, entering the bomb anti-armor mode. Whether it is attacking or being attacked, it will explode. Flapping his wings, Sikong Ye landed steadily, feeling the subtle connection with the ground, and then he remembered the vector control he had acquired not long ago. It turns out that the earth is my home field. Folding his wings together, Sikong Ye hooked his mouth. He has now developed 1/10 of the vector control, which can refract most attacks, but it needs to use the ground as a fulcrum. Although it is also possible in the air, the effect will be greatly reduced. When Sikong Ye landed, Marco and Teach fought again, but Marco was still at a disadvantage. Seeing Teach beating Marco in midair and not coming down to find him, Sikong Ye raised his hands high, pointed his fingers at Teach, and concentrated the energy of the nuclear energy fruit on his fingertips. Chapter 184 on the art of rebounding. The internet enters North Blue. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 241 4 Kunji 10 Baiji Bushing Dian Now plus HP Prelude Shanghai Shi Baiji Bushing Dian Now Show T Bao D13 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. Shish. Only 10 bursting sounds sounded, and 10 laser beams burst out from Venom's fingertips, blocking all possible escape routes for Teach. Puff. One of the rays hit Teach's left leg with precision. Sure enough, only the speed of ultimate can sanction the speed. The corner of Sikong Ye's mouth rose. Laser finger pistol is the ability he developed after obtaining the fruit of nuclear energy. It has the characteristics of fast firing rate, burst firing and fierce power. Hiss. Teach gasped in pain and gasped. The look of resentment in his eyes became more serious. Damn grasshopper, don't think that with a little strength, you can jump in front of the strong. Teach immediately ignored Marco, endured the pain in his leg and rushed towards Sikong Ye. He planned to get rid of this annoying little guy first. Regardless of Teach's speed advantage, kicking Marco is like kicking a grandson. In fact, this injury is just a drizzle for Marco. Marco has the fruit of the phoenix, has strong resilience, and is good at protracted warfare and air combat. The pros and cons of speed cannot fully represent the outcome of the battle. Even if Teach is tired, he may not be able to kill Marco. Now with the interference of Sikong Ye from the sidelines, Teach's great advantage disappeared. If he doesn't get rid of Sikong Ye's shit-stirring stick first, and allows the other party to attack him from time to time, he might really end up in the Zhuangzikong. Laser finger pistol 30 bursts. Sikong Ye once again cast Ashura's three-headed six arms pattern, with 6 hands and 30 fingers all pointing at Teach. Noticing Sikong Ye's actions, Teach, who was about to approach, suddenly had a bad feeling. And when he noticed that all 30 fingers were glowing, his scalp felt numb, and he subconsciously slowed down his pace. My Nima, what the hell is this? The 10 bursts of laser finger pistol just now are already scary enough, but I didn't expect that there will be 30 bursts. Doesn't this thing consume blue? Where would Teach know that Sikong Ye has almost unlimited mana in his body? If it weren't for the Beidou internet to distribute most of the nuclear energy, it would be more than enough for Sikong Ye to launch a few nuclear bombs on the spot. Shish, the sound of piercing through the air resounded throughout the Gemini Cape. After seeing Sikong Ye's strength, Jeppu and Crocus were both inexplicably shocked. Neither of them thought that Sikong Ye would be so strong that he could compete with strong players like Teach and Marco. Is this really just a 10-year-old boy? It is no exaggeration to say that a person with such strength is definitely the existence at the top of the sea pyramid. For a moment, both of them were extremely glad that they had boarded Sikong Ye's pirate ship. Following such a young hero, he might really be able to set off a huge storm in this sea. In the middle of the battlefield, Teach stepped on the moonwalk and shaved constantly dodged and moved, sometimes moving forward and sometimes shaking backwards, avoiding most of the laser finger pistol. The remaining few rounds of lasers could not be avoided, so Teach had to concentrate on improving the smoothness of his hands as much as possible, and then frantically slapped his hands on the laser beams. Tianshan Refraction Hand. This is Teach mimicking the Kizaru Yata mirror's mode of operation, pushing the smoothness of the hands to the limit, bouncing the laser beam with the smoothness of ultimate. Noticing that the laser beam was bounced towards him by Teach, Sikong Ye was slightly taken aback. Can slippery fruit still play like this? It has to be said that Teach's unconstrained imagination is not an ordinary show. That was a blast. A fruit that seemed to him tasteless was actually developed by Teach with various novel abilities. It was enough to shock him to be able to deflect physical attacks and armed colors before. Unexpectedly, Teach can even bounce laser beams away now. Not only did it bounce off, but it could also control the direction of the rebound. Seeing the laser beam in front of his eyes, Sikong Ye raised his hand and flicked his fingernail slightly, and bounced the laser beam back to Teach. Teach. Everyone. What the hell is this? It makes sense that Teach can bounce back laser beams. After all, he has bounced back physical attacks and armament hockey before. It is reasonable to work hard to bounce laser beams. But if you, Sikong Ye, are able to release the laser beam, you are already beyond the standard, and you can actually bounce the laser beam a second time, which is outrageous. Not scientific at all. Sikong Ye saw that everyone was stupefied, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. I will vector control this matter, do I need to tell you to? Vector control itself is the ability to refract through the principle of vector science. This is the real power of science. Teach didn't believe in evil, and bounced the laser beam back to Sikong Ye again, and Kong Ye also bounced it back to Teach. In this way, the 5 laser beams danced at the fingertips of Teach and Sikong Ye, forming a large net composed of light rays. For a while, the battle situation fell into anxiety. Marco slowly approached Teach, trying to launch a sneak attack and win the victory point. Teach's sense of knowledge is also not weak. Noticing Marco's small thoughts, his face sank. He is very clear that continuing to entangle like this will not only fail to solve Marco and Sikong Ye, but will put him at a disadvantage. Thinking of this, Teach felt a sense of retreat. So, at the moment when the 5 lasers shot towards him again, they changed the direction of the lasers and shot at the Emperor Star. Teach, taking advantage of Sikong Ye's attention being attracted, used Moonwalk to flee towards the sea, and at the same time manipulated the fruit to put himself into a zero-friction state. With no air resistance, Teach is as fast as the ultimate, covering a kilometer in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Marco didn't even want the boat, and immediately spread his wings and flew into the sky, chasing Teach in the direction where he was escaping. Teach suddenly changed the direction of the laser, which made Sikong Ye a little unprepared, but it was too late to return to the Emperor Star at this moment. On the deck, Kuina kept an eye on the changing situation on the battlefield. When he noticed that the 5 lasers were rushing towards the Emperor Star, Kuina quickly pulled out the sword of the vowed victory on his back. Kuina's legs were slightly bent, so that the strength of her waist and abdomen could firmly grasp the deck, and she held the sword of sworn victory across her body. The sword body is transparent, and others cannot see it. Jeppu, Mochi, Beeg, Crocus and others saw Kuina's strange movements, and they were all at a loss. What is this little girl doing? His hands are raised horizontally, as if holding a sword. But the question is, what about the sword? For a moment, several people wondered if Kuina was out of his mind and used the air as a sword. Watching the 5 laser beams about to hit Kuina, the faces of Zap and Crocus turned pale in an instant. They all thought that the young swordsman was about to die. However, the next moment, ding 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 ding. 5 crisp sounds resounded. Those laser beams seemed to hit something. They all stopped in front of Kuina, and then slowly dissipated. Kuina's sword-holding hands were slightly cracked, obviously resisting 5 laser shots, which is still a little bit reluctant for her now. But the captain entrusted her with the important task of guarding the ship, so she naturally couldn't let the captain down. The tiger's mouth oozing with traces of blood, under the effect of the distant utopia, quickly recovered as before, as if it had never been injured. Kuina found that the injury had been repaired, but she didn't pay much attention to it. She was treated by the scabbard for her daily practice injuries. Guyana was not very satisfied with the scabbard that could heal automatically. I'm blind. That girl clearly has a sword in her hand, why can't I see it? Crocus rubbed his eyes frantically, almost wondering if he was blind. Jeppu returned to East Blue some time ago, and has some understanding of what happened in East Blue, and also knows that there is a magic weapon on the Emperor Star. Could it be that this magical weapon is the invisible weapon in Kuina's hand? Sheathing the knife, Kuina proudly raised her eyebrows and looked at Sikong Ye. Did you see, at the critical moment, I still have to rely on this girl. Sikong Ye smiled lightly at Kuina and gave him a positive look. Then, he turned his head and looked towards the direction Teach flew away. Dare to attack the Emperor Star in front of him. It seems that this black fat man is desperate for death. If this account is not properly calculated, wouldn't he and Kong Ye be in vain? Venom, take some time these few days to update Fat King. Master, good Zhao, after this period of time, I have developed the fruit of nuclear energy and the fruit of networking. The energy contained in my body is enough to open a new internet sea area, and can ensure the smooth operation of the network. Venom did not respond immediately, but took the lead in reporting his work progress. Excuse me, Master, should Beidou Internet's next sea area be located in South Blue or North Blue? Hearing the good news about Venom, Sikong Ye suddenly became excited, and quickly said, first turn on North Blue's internet. Sikong Ye remembers that 3 of the original supernovas came from North Blue, Trafalgar Law, Hawkins and Drake. Especially Luo and Hawkins, who are talented and not particularly bad, are the ones Sikong Ye wants to recruit. As for Drake, they can be regarded as colleagues, everyone belongs to Marine Undercover. This person doesn't appear too many times in the original book, and because Marine's undercover identity is relatively mysterious and his personality is uncertain, Sikong Ye is not interested in making friends with this guy. Moreover, Sikong Ye intends to contact and negotiate with them as the master of the internet. If Drake is aware of the relationship between the Ziwei pirates and the master of the internet and reports it to Marshal Sengoku, many of his plans will be disrupted. Of course, the most important thing is that Sikong Ye somewhat dislikes Drake's ancient fruit. Chapter 185 Kick-Ass Teach, I heard what I shouldn't have heard. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 241 4 Kanji 10 Baiji Bu Sheng Dian Now plus HP Prelude Shang Kai Shi Baiji Bu Sheng Dian Now Show T Bao D 13 Die Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows. Good master, turn on North Blue's internet now. Venom replied, and then started to operate. A few minutes later, the voice of Venom entered Sikong Ye's mind again. By the way, master, regarding the update of the Fat Sea King manga, do you need to change the name of the manga? Hearing Venom's suggestion, Teach's handsome and well-proportioned appearance appeared in Sikong Ye's mind. It seems that the codename of Fatty Black is not worthy of the name. And in the comics Teach ate dark fruit and shock fruit, but in reality Teach ate slippery fruit. The difference between reality and comics is too obvious, and fans probably don't have a sense of substitution after watching it. It seems that it doesn't make much sense to continue to update the original comics. Venom, why don't you just draw a new comic? It's also related to Teach, you can be as black as you want, and you can make it as dark as possible. If the name of the comic is called Kick-Ass Kickoffs? Sikong Ye. Venom, I didn't expect you, an honest person, to be joking. It's King Hybian. Good master. The communication between Sikong Ye and Venom is carried out in his mind. From outsider's point of view, Sikong Ye is just standing on the shore and watching Teach's away direction, full of unwillingness and anger. Xiao Yi, don't be reconciled. Guys like Teach must have reserved a way for themselves before they dared to board Marco's boat. The leader came to Sikong Ye and comforted him. Sikong Ye rolled his eyes, didn't bother to explain anything, and glanced at the flame tank pirates on the shore of Gemini Cape. I really don't know if these people are big-hearted or have no brains. They have been standing on the sidelines to watch the excitement. Don't they know the reason for getting burned? He fought with Teach just now, and he couldn't spare 307 to deal with these guys, but now he can have fun with them. He has been coveting Bega's strong city fruit for a long time. He doesn't know how to eat it himself, but if the Emperor Star acquires the characteristics of a creature with the help of the Nami rat spell, maybe it can really eat the power of the strong city. At that time, the internal space of the Emperor Star will become wider, and the defense will also be improved. He can learn from Bega's model and install dozens of hundreds of artillery inside the Emperor Star. Who dares to play naval battles with him? He can definitely make the other party call dad. However, the two biggest questions now are whether the Emperor Star can eat devil fruit, and whether it can touch seawater after eating devil fruit. Forget it, let's think about these things after Nami endows the Emperor Star with spirituality. What? While thinking about it, Sikong Ye observed the flame tank pirates, and suddenly noticed that an attribute bar appeared on the head of the girl wearing a peaked cap and mask behind Beag. This shows that girls can be recruited into the Ziwei pirates. Potential partner, Nico Robin. Available position, Team Greedy Wolf. Assessment of combat power, Class E. Included features, flower fruit, 30%. Huh? Robin? A shocked expression appeared on Sikong Ye's face. He didn't expect that Luo Yi came to the Grand Line with the help of Bega's pirate ship. In the original book, the two did not have any intersection, and now they have a relationship. It is likely that he used the master of the internet to recruit Robin, so that Robin came to the great, Rude ahead of time, the butterfly effect, right? After figuring it out, Sikong Ye stepped forward to say hello to Robin. As a result, he was blocked by Mochi and Lakey just halfway there. Captain, Senior Nagel has successfully arrived at Twin Cape. What orders do you have? As soon as Teach and Marco left, they couldn't help walking up to say hello to Sikong Ye. Hearing this, Nagley stopped communicating with Crocus, and subconsciously looked at Sikong Ye with squinted eyes under his white eyebrows, thoughtfully. So the mastermind behind the reunion is this young man who is too young to be decent. Lion Lakey couldn't help but recall what happened in Zailuobu village when he saw Sikong Ye, and hid behind Mochi a little shyly. Sikong Ye took a look at Mochi, with a strange look on his face. Didn't you just talk to you privately and let you pretend that you don't know me? That's right, so I have been pretending that I don't know the captain just now, isn't it the time? Mochi was taken aback, faintly feeling that he had caused a catastrophe. Sikong Ye sighed helplessly, looking at Beag and the others as if they were dead. If you hear what you shouldn't hear, then I can only kill people to silence it. Beag. Robin. Werther. Gotti. What the hell, your people said that leaking their mouths has nothing to do with us. Is there any law left? Is it still unreasonable? Being stared at bitterly by Beeg and others, Sikong Ye coughed in embarrassment. Although he just wants to kill Beeg and others, but after all, he needs to learn from others. You can't just go and slaughter their entire pirate group without provoking you, right? That seemed too violent. Seen by the crew of Ziwei or the cadres of Fulian, the influence is not good. If the hearts of the people are scattered, it will be difficult to lead the team. And Moki jumped out at this time, which just gave him a reasonable excuse. Wait. Sikong Ye looked at Mochi suspiciously. Could it be that this guy said this on purpose because he disliked the flame tank pirates? After thinking about it, Sikong Ye still put aside his thinking that people think bad things. Anyway, this matter is beneficial to him. With 3 punches and 2 kicks, Sikong Ye stunned all the pirates except Robin, and then asked Kuina to contact Karina and Luffy, and the 3 recycling masters were responsible for dividing up the spoils. After a series of operations, dozens of Mafia heroic spirits were added to the heroic ship, and dozens of Mafia shadow soldiers were added to the shadow ship. Luffy also had a hearty meal as he wished. Of course, Sikong Ye also grabbed the fruit of the strong city he longed for, and scooped up gold, silver, jewelry and cash worth tens of millions of Baileys in the cabin of the flame tank pirates. Killing and setting fire to the golden belt, this sentence is not wrong at all. When everything was settled, Sikong Ye asked Kuina to open the portal to release all the spirits of Beeg and others. Jeppu is responsible for explaining the basic rules to Beeg and other heroes. After confirming that there were no outsiders in Cape Twins, Saki, Namuel and Tezzolo walked out of the cabin in a dignified manner, and were responsible for helping Jeppu maintain order in the classroom. And Crocus is introducing Nagli to the policies and plans of the Avengers organization. All the heroes immediately became busy. Half an hour later, after hearing all the policies and plans of the Avengers Alliance, Nagli couldn't help but sigh with emotion. I didn't expect there to be such an organization in the sea, which works for the welfare of the people everywhere, and protects the safety of people's lives and property at all times. Afterwards, Nagli looked at Beeg and other heroic spirits with eyes full of envy. I really envy these heroic spirits. Not only can they live forever, but they can also be resurrected infinitely. Since this is the case, why don't you all die once, die early and be reborn sooner? Sikong Ye suddenly suggested. Nagli. Crocus. All 3 of them joined the Avengers Alliance, and they all signed a passive heroic spirit contract. After death, they can be reborn as heroic spirits at any time. It's just that there is no contract, relying on character and trust alone. Sikong Ye is somewhat worried. More importantly, the shadows of these 3 people are very suitable for supplementing the Shadow Corps, and the corpses can also be devoured by Luffy to improve a lot. Members who joined the Avengers would be ashamed to go out if they died a few times or dozens of times. Since you have to die sooner or later, instead of dying outside and no one will collect the body, it is better to die now and collect the shadow and body. As a 3 good young man, the 4 words, shameful to waste, are firmly engraved in his heart, and he dare not forget it for a minute. I'm still young, why don't I just forget about it? Jeppu declined, because he was the youngest of the 3, and he was quite satisfied with his strong body. However, Nagli had some changes and asked Kuina, excuse me, are we in a contract state now? Kuina nodded, and then the old man looked at Karina again. Little girl, you can take our shadow now. Hearing what Nagel said, Karina didn't have the slightest pretense, and immediately pulled the shadows of Nagel and the others. The sun shone on their bodies, and the bodies of the 3 began to evaporate. Jeppu stared at Nagli speechlessly. If you want to transform the heroic spirit, you can kill yourself directly. Why do you have to bring us? However, Nagel ignored Zap's protests, kicked Zap to death, sent Crocus to the west, and finally killed himself. Act extremely simply. Seeing this, Sikong Ye also gave Nagli a thumbs up. This is the real wise man. Apparently, Nagel had seen Sikong Ye's distrust of them, so Nagel directly took the 2 of them to submit the nomination certificate. Even Sikong Ye can't help but compare to the decisiveness of his actions. But Sikong Ye didn't think too long, and quickly asked Luffy to devour their bodies. Immediately afterwards, the 3 of them were reborn on the heroic spirit ship on the other side of the world transmitting gate. The body of the heroic spirit is indeed more flexible than the exhausted body before. Nagli, the white-browed Eagle King who doesn't talk too much, walked out of the gate first, and said hello to Sikong Ye and Kuina. Strictly speaking, Sikong Ye and Kuina are now Nagli's immediate superiors, and the necessary etiquette is indispensable. Chapter 186 Forget about carrying on the family line, choose Whiskey Peak. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. When Jeppu walked out of the world transmitting gate, his head drooped, like a wronged daughter-in-law, all his unhappiness was written on his face. Although Yingling's body is not bad, he always feels that something is missing. Ah, terrible. I haven't had time to carry on the family line. Nagli, you old fellow, give back my descendants. Nagli. He really ignored that Jeppu is now at the age of reproduction. The main reason is that pirates like them don't care about the succession of the family, and Najeli has already passed the age of inheritance, so it's normal to not think about it. The other heroic spirits were also stunned when they heard this, and the audience fell into a brief silence. Immediately afterwards, many heroic spirits wailed. They are still young, and have not had time to experience many wonderful things in life. Crocus doesn't care about this, he has long been bearish on the love of life and death. Mr. Nagley, you are currently the strongest among all heroic spirits. From now on, you, Mr. Crocus and Mr. Zap will jointly manage the Avengers members in the Grand Line area. Sikong Ye directly entrusted them with important tasks. As for Crow and Buggy, they are mainly in charge of East Blue's reunion organization. Ho 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 ho, no problem, I have a lot of time now and I'm worried about nothing to do. Nagley readily accepted. I really didn't expect that at the end of the uncertain things, the old man just took a look at you and Ace Sabo from a distance. I didn't expect that it was you guys who set off changes in the kingdom of Goa. You are really awesome. Na Jelly praised him without hesitation, and Sikong Ye smiled lightly at this, without arrogance or humility, with a plain and confident expression, which made Na Jelly appreciate him even more. Beeg, you and your crew will study with Nagley for a period of time, and then return to West Blue for reunion activities, 7 inches. Sikong Ye continued to arrange work for Beeg, and pulled Nagley, Crocus, Zap and Beeg into the auxiliary fleet. As for Saki and the others, let's just be honest workers, and letting them join the management team won't help much. Captain, I don't understand, why didn't that guy die? After becoming a heroic spirit, Beeg was still smoking a cigarette, pointing at Robin, wanting to seek justice from Sikong Ye. Beeg originally lived a mafia life in West Blue, but one day, the girl with peaked cap suddenly appeared in front of him and suggested that he go to the Grand Line to snatch the treasure that the Ziwei pirates got from the Golden Lion. He was greedy for a while and believed in the girl's nonsense. However, they just came to the Grand Line, and their entire pirate group fell down. But now, that girl is fine, which makes Beeg feel how to balance. Oh, you said her, she is the person I named to recruit, I didn't expect that she would bring me such a big gift from you. Sikong Ye smiled at Beeg, but in Bega's eyes, he looked like a devil. That girl and Sikong Ye are actually in the same group? At this time, Robin, who had been standing on the deck without acting rashly, took off his peaked cap and mask, and looked at Sikong Ye curiously. Since contacting the Lord of the Internet, Robin has approached Beeg, using the news that the Ziwei pirates are about to go to the Grand Line and the huge treasure of the Golden Lion as bait. The success gave Beeg the idea of going to the Grand Line, and she also successfully took Bega's downwind boat to Twin Point. With the internet completely disconnected due to leaving West Blue, she is wondering how to contact the Internet Lord. As a result, Teach first fought with Beeg like a house, then fought with Marco and Sikong Ye, and finally escaped from Twin Point. And her boss was eaten away by the Ziwei pirates on the spot, leaving her alive alone. By this time, Robin had actually seen the clues. In this case, the reason why she was alive must have something to do with the Lord of the Internet. Captain Sikong, you could be the legendary you. Just as Robin wanted to ask for verification, Sikong Ye hurriedly came to the former's side, covering the words he was about to say. Hush, just no, don't ask. For smart women, Sikong Ye is more at ease, often only needs a hint, and the other party will cooperate very tacitly. And Robin also cooperated with Sikong Ye very wittily in acting. Are you planning to invite me to join your Ziwei pirates? Well, I wonder if Miss Robin would like to. Of course, no problem. Robin needs a powerful enough force to sail down, and the Ziwei pirates are just perfect for her. At the same time, she is also very interested in Sikong Ye, who has the triple identity of the Master of the Avengers, the Master of the Internet, and the Captain of the Ziwei pirates. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The 15th ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Option 1. Hand Speed Fruit. Option 2. Oil Fruit. Option 3. Broadcast Fruit. All 3 fruits appeared before. Sikong Ye pondered for 2 seconds, and chose the Hand Speed Fruit. Although the Oil Fruit is the best among the 3 Devil Fruits, this energy-type fruit Sikong Ye does not intend to give it to anyone. And he doesn't need it himself, so naturally he won't choose. Welcome Miss Robin. Recruiting Robin, Sikong Ye asked Crocus for a record pointer and a permanent pointer to Whiskey Hill. The reason why I chose the road of Whiskey Hill is firstly because I am familiar with it, and the second is that both Chao Zhang and Vivi are on this road. How would he recruit Chopper and Vivi if he didn't choose this path? Especially Chopper, Sikong Ye strongly suspects that as long as Chopper is recruited, it is very likely to activate his long-awaited war pet ship. Sikong Ye called the crew out of Laboon's stomach, and after all the crew members boarded the Star God, he called Li Chi to board the ship. As for Mochi, Sikong Ye temporarily placed him next to Nagley. Both of them are familiar with each other. They can also introduce Nagley to the operation mode of the reunion in Goa Kingdom. When the battle pet ship is activated, it doesn't matter if Moki dies once and can return to the Emperor Star to serve as the shit shovel officer. The navigator Nami drove the Emperor Star slowly away from Cape Twin, followed by Laboon. Sikong Ye will not leave Laboon to wait in Shuangzhou like the original book. Since I already know Brook's location, why not just bring it with me? Asking for flowers. Point 0 Moreover, Laboon is also a pet that can join the battle pet ship. Maybe after meeting Chopper, Laboon can be given a fortune. Standing on the deck, Sikong Ye waved goodbye to Na Jelly and others. Although Nagli in their first stop is also Alabasta, it is better for the two sides to proceed separately to avoid suspicion. Xiao Yi, help me take care of Laboon, Crocus shouted at Sikong Ye. Don't worry, I will raise Laboon as a pochi, Sikong Ye responded. During this period of time, after Kaya's treatment, Laboon's body has basically recovered, and after learning about the news of the Rumba Pirates Brook, his mental state has also improved a lot. Sanji and Robin, you two come here. Seeing Sanji courting the new Robin, Sikong Ye was not pleasing to the eye. It doesn't feel like being hated, after all, he has nothing to do with the girls on the boat, and Sanji is not only a gentleman, but also like a dog licking, so Sikong Ye has no sense of crisis at all. Of course, he couldn't bear to see this guy always hanging around in front of girls, so he didn't feel good about Sanji during this time. Point zero, but one thing to say, Sanji is reliable and kind, and he doesn't regret inviting Sanji to join the Ziwei Pirates. Everyone has flaws, and Sanji is only lustful but not courageous, possesses the spirit of chivalry, and understands the truth that a friend's wife should not be bullied. Sikong Ye is quite at ease with this guy. If it was someone like Absalom, Sikong Ye would definitely dismember his body, quarter his body, and put him to death. Thinking of dozens of tortures at once, Sikong Ye didn't feel that he was cruel. No matter whether it was Absalom or Momosuke, neither of these two guys could think about it. It doesn't matter who comes to intercede, this is the duty of a seafan traveler. Captain, what's the matter? Sanji held a kitchen knife in his hand, half of his face was covered by yellow hair bangs, and he looked gloomy. Who do I need to kill? Robin's words added a chill. FK. Seems like a bad idea to have these two guys over here together. Sikong Ye was speechless. One of these two guys pretended to be serious, and the other was extremely black-bellied. Appearing together made the temperature drop a lot. Looking at the snowflakes falling in front of my eyes, there are two pieces of the sun, more and more. Huh? Is the temperature drop so obvious? I just described it? Sikong Ye looked up and realized that the Emperor Star had entered the snow area. Sure enough, the weather on the Grand Line is so unpredictable. Captain, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to my room. Robin folded his arms and rubbed, obviously feeling a little cold. Well, you join the big family of Ziwei Pirates. As the captain, I should give you a gift. Sanji put on dead fish eyes. Captain, are you finally willing to give me a boarding gift bag? After joining the Ziwei Pirates for so long, Sanji naturally inquired about the boarding package from other crew members, but the captain just hung his appetite and refused to give it to him. He joined the group for more than half a month, and Robin just joined, and as a result, they both got the gift package at the same time, which made Sanji feel unbalanced. Chapter 187. Choose the boarding gift package. The Emperor Star is about to recover. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 14 Kun Baiji Bushing Dian Now 14 EP0049 TUD 13 Dai Intel Core i5 Chuli Chi Windows 11 Jiaoyang Band 14 inches. Dui Zhao. Quangao Qing Xian Shi. Isn't it just a few days late? A boy don't always act like a resentful woman. Sikong Ye gave Sanji an annoyed look. Then, he opened the system and checked the gift packages of the two of them. Ding. Intern Sanji is boarding. Please choose the boarding package. Option 1. Feast. Option 2. God's Tongue. Option 3. Gourmet Cells. Ding. Intern Robin is boarding. Please choose the boarding package. Option 1. Wood Style. Option 2. Kilin Arm. Option 3. Fantasy Killer. Diamond Suit Feast. Devour life forms that have lost the ability to resist, and can increase vitality and various physical qualities without limit. God's Tongue. Greatly enhance the sense of taste and discover the flaws in cooking. Filled Circle Gourmet Cells. Implanted into the human body can activate the cells, enjoy delicious food to enhance physical fitness, and constantly exceed the limits of human beings. Wood Style. The blood successive limit combined with the dual attributes of water and soil, activated by its own life source, creates a forest in an instant, and the trees in the forest are all controlled by the caster. Filled Diamond Kilin Arm. Opening the entrance of the triple burner, the arm possesses extraordinary strength, not only can be hot and cold, but also invulnerable to guns. 17-0. Fantasy Killer. Regardless of good or evil, strong or weak, it can nullify any ability and make all abilities disappear without a trace. After reading the introduction of the 6 characteristics, Sikong Ye once again fell into the difficulty of choosing. Vince Mo K. Sanji, as the 6th member of the 7 Kills team, must choose a stronger skill. Excluding God's Tongue, which is known as a curse and has no actual combat capabilities, the 2 characteristics of Feast and Gourmet Cells rely on phagocytosis to become stronger. The difference is that the feast is to directly swallow the living body to strengthen itself, while the gourmet cell needs to make the living body into food and enjoy it before it can improve its strength. As for Nico Robin, as the 5th member of the Greedy Wolf team, he did not draw the spell, and the 3 options also blinded Sikong Ye. Wood Style is more suitable for Sage Body, obviously more suitable for Nuoki Gao. But as a flower fruit capable person, Robin can also control Wood Style. The birth of the flower tree world in Wood Style, if it is matched with flower fruit, it will definitely have a miraculous effect that 1 + 1 is far greater than 2. The Buddha on top of wood style fits perfectly with the flower fruit scene where countless petal arms are formed at every turn. In Hokage, Senju Hashirama clapped his hands for whatever he wanted. In Pirates, Nico Robin puts his hands together to get whatever he wants. The overlap between the abilities of the two is quite high. If the other two abilities are a little rubbish, Sikong Ye will not hesitate to choose wood style decisively. But the problem is that the invulnerable Kylin arm is also very suitable for Robin. After all, Robin is a hand to play with the year series. As for Fantasy Killer, it is even worse. It is equivalent to opening a plugin for flower fruit that is similar to Dark Fruit's ability Invalidation. Unfortunately, Fantasy Killer can only neutralize Devil Fruit. Haki belongs to the ability born after the combination of mind and body and developed to a certain extent. Just like the ability to stand on one hand, it will not be restrained by Fantasy Killer. Sikong Ye resolutely throws the problem to the parties involved. Sanji, do you prefer to devour living organisms directly or enjoy delicious food? Nonsense, of course it's food. Do you think everyone has a rough nerve like Luffy? When Sanji heard the words, he instantly remembered the scene where Luffy ate the murloc raw, subconsciously shuddered, and quickly waved his hands to express his resistance. Noticing Sanji's appearance, Sikong Ye has a clue in his heart. So directly choose gourmet cells to fuse into Sanji's body. What? As soon as the gourmet cells were integrated into the body, Sanji knelt on the ground in pain and yelled crazily. Bursts of heat radiated from his body, melting the snow around the deck. The pain came and went quickly, and after only 3 minutes, Sanji, who was rolling all over the floor, felt the pain in his body disappear. Instead, there was a strong hunger to the bone marrow. I'm so hungry. I feel like I can eat the entire Emperor Star right now. Sanji got up and ran into the kitchen looking for food to satisfy his hunger. It's your turn next. Sikong Ye turned to look at Robin. Captain, may I refuse? Robin is clearly intimidated by Sikong Ye's boarding package. No, I have 3 gift packages to choose from. Sikong Ye shook his head and refused, and then roughly introduced an ability screened out by the system. Robin bit his lip with his upper teeth, and chose wood style after a long thought. Are you sure? You must know that wood style's power will be weakened without the assistance of Sage Body. Sikong Ye confirmed again. According to the system, once each feature is selected, other people will not brush that feature again. In other words, once Robin chooses wood style, Nuo Kagao can no longer choose wood style. For the same reason, Robin cannot choose the Sage Body Booster wood style. I'm sure. Robin looked determined. Seeing this situation, Sikong Ye did not continue to block. Although Sage Body and wood style are very suitable, the combination of the two can exert a stronger power. But in fact, no matter how powerful it is, it's useless. Even if Nuo Kagao has obtained wood style, he still doesn't like to fight. It is estimated that wood style is just ashes in Nuo Kagao. Moreover, Fantasy Killer is not particularly needed by Robin, and Kylin's arm can also be replaced by Armed Color. After thinking about this, Sikong Ye decided to inject wood style into Robin's body. Go shit, it is said that Sage Body and wood style are more suitable. In Ziwei Pirates, the emphasis is on practicality. After Sikong Ye finished teaching the exercises, Robin only felt that there seemed to be something extra in his body. With the palm of your hand, a tender green seedling grows from the palm at a speed visible to the naked eye. Thank you, Captain. Robin was pleasantly surprised by his newfound abilities. She didn't expect Sikong Ye to be so generous to a newcomer to her. On the first day the two met, Sikong Ye was able to give a big gift unconditionally. How could Robin not be moved by this? Since she was a child, except for her mother and Saul, she has not felt any warmth. However, today, she feels an unprecedented trust in the captain's brother who is 8 years younger than herself. This kind of trust made her feel very warm and comfortable. Cultivate well. I will take you to see the history buried in Alabasta after a while. Sikong Ye only talked about history, but did not talk about the main text of history. He was deliberately sending a harmless signal to Robin. He didn't want Robin to misunderstand, thinking that he invited her on board to get the content of the historical text. Robin didn't know whether he understood the meaning of Sikong Ye's words or didn't understand, and returned to the cabin after answering. It was snowing heavily on the deck, and most of the crew hid in the reception cabin. Robin wore less clothes. Naturally, it was impossible to accompany Si Zhongyi to continue standing on the deck, blowing the cold wind and snowflakes. Wouldn't it be nice to have a warm air conditioner in the cabin? However, there are also a few people who are still cultivating crazily on the deck. Luffy, Ace and Sabo are competing at the moment. Kebi is desperately doing push-ups, and Zoro is soaking in the extremely cold Seastone swimming pool, limp and weak. Except for Sanji, who is eating in the kitchen, the other 5 members of Team 7 are practicing. Especially Zoro, this guy completely ignored the freezing weather, still stayed in the swimming pool, and practiced sword while soaking wet. Even though his body was limp and weak, even though his body was covered with snowflakes, Zoro still swung the magic knife Thousand Blades with all his might. Sikong Ye wanted to remind them to put down the glass cover, it would be warmer, but after thinking about it, forget it. The sky will send a great mission to the people of Sri Lanka, and they must first work hard on their hearts and minds. Think of it as penance. Looking around, Sikong Ye found that Nami was waving to him through the glass in the captain's cabin, so he walked to the captain's cabin to ask. Nami, what do you want from me? Can't I come to you if I have nothing to do? Captain Big Brother is too unreasonable, isn't he? Nami pressed two small pink fists on the eye sockets and pretended to rub with an expression of crying. Sikong Ye. Unexpectedly, Nami started acting at such a young age? When I first met 8-year-old Nami in Kokoyashi village, he felt completely different from the clever and cunning little thieving cat in the original book. This is also 0.3 normally. After all, Nami at that time hadn't encountered the murlocs that brought her disaster. But since boarding the Emperor Star, Nami's small temper gradually began to show, and it seems to have a tendency to overlap with the character in the original book. Tell me, what's the matter? I'm going to go if I'm fine. Captain Big Brother is too much, he is a navigator, it's really boring to stay in the captain's cabin alone. You can't talk to me. Hey, don't go. In the middle of Nami's speech, seeing Sikong Ye turn around and leave without hesitation, he became anxious and hurriedly stopped him. My rat charm can cover the entire Emperor Star, doesn't Captain Big Brother want to see how the Emperor Star comes alive? Huh? Sikong Ye stopped, turned to look at Nami, and raised his eyebrows slightly. It seems like it hasn't been a month, but Nami actually has enough physical strength to cover the entire Emperor Star with the mouse spell? It seems that this little girl is not lazy, then show it to me. HMPH, I don't want it. When people are in a bad mood, it won't work. If someone gives me a massage now, maybe this girl's mood will improve. Chapter 188 Inexplicably having an extra daughter, the ship spirit Sikong Shing. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 14 Kun Baiji Bu Shing Dian Now 14 EP0049 TUD 13 Dai Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows 11 Zhao Yong Ban 14 inches. Dui Zhao. Quan Gao Qing Xian Shi. Nami crossed his arms and snorted coldly, unable to hide the smug smile on his face. Ka ka ka. Sikong Ye broke his knuckles, and a strange smile appeared on his face. I have great strength, and if I accidentally press it, my bones will be dislocated. Are you sure you want to try it? So what, Captain Big Brother, are you serious? Nami was a little flustered, and stepped back again and again. Sikong Ye was like a devil in her eyes at the moment. Ha ha ha. Just kidding, hurry up and show your rat charm, I also want to verify a few academic questions. Sikong Ye suppressed his smile and urged. Nami didn't dare to continue teasing the captain, and quickly put two pairs of jade hands on the console. The next moment, the Emperor Star began to shake wildly, as if it had encountered a magnitude 5 earthquake. The shaking didn't last long, and it stopped after only 5 seconds. All the crew members didn't know why, and thought they were attacked by sea kings. Fortunately, Sikong Ye quickly released a message in the main fleet, which calmed everyone's anxiety. How long will you hold me? Sikong Ye looked at Nami in his arms and said speechlessly. This little girl actually jumped into his arms to hide just now, she didn't know what to be afraid of. Anyway, if you have the elementalization of Thunderfruit, you won't be crushed even if the sky falls, is it worth it? Dad. Mom. At this moment, a sweet, waxy and cute voice suddenly appeared in the ears of Sikong Ye and Nami. 14 Just when the two were wondering who was rushing to recognize their father and mother, the next moment, a translucent phantom in the shape of a soul body came out from the operating console in the captain's room. The one who made the sound was a 5 or 6-year-old girl wearing an orange raincoat and barefoot. She looked pretty, somewhat similar to Nami. She has short white hair, purple eyes, and 2 rows of big white faces with a smile. She looks extremely cute. Boat sprite? Sikong Ye opened his mouth, feeling a little unbelievable. You must know that generally only when the crew members on board love each other and cherish the hull, can the legendary elves be born. Such as Whitebeard's Moby Dick, the red-haired Redvers, and the original Straw Hat Crew's Going Merry, these ships are born with dreams on board. Although Sikong Ye is confident that his Emperor Star is no worse than other pirate ships, a ship elf will definitely be born one day in the future. But I never thought that this day would come so suddenly. But the problem is, Nami obviously used the mouse charm. Why is it not the boat that came back to life, but the birth of the boat elf? Could this be caused by the rules of the One Piece world? System, don't you plan to come out and explain it? Sikong Ye resolutely asked the system in his heart when he couldn't decide. Returning to the host, the ability of the rat charm is a dead thing, giving kinetic energy to still life, and the ship spirit is a special kinetic energy form of the pirate ship. After listening to the system explanation, Sikong Ye is convinced that his guess is correct. Due to the rules of the One Piece world, after the pirate ship is endowed with kinetic energy, a ship spirit will be born. Whose mother? She's not married yet, okay. Nami had just exhausted a lot of physical strength, and at this moment a touch of blush appeared on his pale face, and he glared at the ship elf sitting on the console. Who is this little girl? Is it polite to recognize her mother as soon as she comes up? Didn't you see that I'm still an 8-year-old pure little loli? It's okay to recognize the mother, why should you recognize the straight captain as your father? Are we compatible? The boat elf was reprimanded by Nami, and he was wronged and rushed to Sikong Ye. However, it passed directly through the body without touching Sikong Ye's clothes at all, which made the boat elf even more unhappy. Immediately, the ship elf put on a weeping expression, which was exactly the same as Nami. Dad, Mom doesn't want me anymore, Sikong Ye. The boat elf has white hair and purple eyes, an orange raincoat, and a face and personality that are 4 to 5 points similar to Nami. If it is not the child of him and Nami, it is estimated that others will take it as a joke. Nami, why are you so fierce? This little guy is a new life created by you just using the mouse charm. After symbolically reprimanding Nami, Sikong Ye smiled warmly at the ship elf. Mom doesn't want you, Dad wants you. What's your name, little one? Father still loves me the most, and my name is Sikong Sheng. Hearing the name of the ship elf, Sikong Ye smiled slightly. Sikong is his surname, and the star is taken from the Emperor star. Fortunately, judging from the name, the ship spirit still recognizes him as the closest. After all, the Emperor star was the first cheat given to him by the system, and the mouse charm in Nami's hand was also a sequel cheat from the system. If the Emperor star and the ship spirit were abducted by Nami so easily, then he can only say that this system is a bit rubbish. Fortunately, that bloody plot didn't happen. Instead, the cute ship elf abducted Nami for him. This ship elf is simply an excellent wingman. Seeing Sikong Sheng and Sikong Ye laughing very happily while chatting, Nami felt a little bit smug in his heart. Why? This girl has worked so hard to give birth to you. Ah no, it was to give you life, but you actually went to recognize someone else as your father? Captain Stinky, why does little Xing recognize you as her father? Since I gave birth to little Xing through the mouse charm, it is enough for little Xing to recognize me as her mother. Unconvinced, Nami immediately rushed forward to distract Sikong Ye and Sikong Sheng. Zhou Wen asked. Maybe it's because I gave you the rat charm? Of course Sikong Ye wouldn't tell the truth, and just prevaricated with a rhetorical question. And Nami was really speechless. The mouse charm was given to her by the captain. Strictly speaking, little Xing should call her mother and the captain grandpa. So, did little Xing call captain daddy or did she earn it? Nami shook off those messy thoughts in his head, and asked Sikong Sheng. Little Xing, you should be able to control the Emperor Star now, right? Although it is not clear what the ship spirit is, Nami gave life to the Emperor Star, so that one day he can be blatantly lazy. Well, yes. So, I don't have to stay in the captain's cabin all the time? That's right, as long as my mother tells me, I can control the Emperor Star to sail. After getting Sikong Zing's positive answer, Nami was very happy bouncing around. Seeing this, Sikong Ye smiled. Girls of this age really like to have fun, and staying in the captain's cabin every day is a bit boring. When he was driving the Emperor Star, he adjusted the course every time after half a day, which often caused the Emperor Star to deviate from the original route. Since Nami boarded the ship, the course has basically not deviated. Little Xing, Dad asks you a question, can you eat devil fruit? Sikong Ye asked an academic question that he had been curious about for a long time. Okay. Sikong Sheng nodded his head excitedly. Obviously he didn't have any objection to eating devil fruit. After you eat it, can the Emperor Star still touch the seawater? Dad, are you kidding me? What does my eating devil fruit have to do with the Emperor Star? Sikong Sheng looked puzzled. Sikong Ye. Nami endowed the Emperor Star with life. Why gave birth to you? Sikong Ye didn't bother to ask this. Since Sikong Sheng can eat devil fruit, then he can consider giving her a fruit. I have a strong city fruit here, do you like it? Sikong Ye asked Sikong Sheng, and then gave a general account of the ability of the fruit of the city. Sikong Sheng shook his head. Father, I am a soul body, and the devil fruit of the soul type 587 is the most suitable for me. Soul class. Thinking about it, the ship elves are strictly speaking elves, not pirate ships, and eating the fruit of the city is not very useful. But Sikong Ye didn't feel guilty about killing Beeg in vain. Sikong Sheng didn't need it, Frankie definitely could. After being reminded by the little star, Sikong Ye remembered the ghost fruit, the yellow spring fruit and the soul fruit. These three fruits are all soul-like. Unfortunately, these three fruits already have owners. Okay, Dad will help you find the soul-like devil fruit in the future. Sikong Ye made a promise to the chief daughter. Really, Dad, you are so kind to me. Sikong Sheng was overjoyed, and then said to Sikong Ye. Father, I still have a hidden ability, do you want to take a look? What ability? I can modify the layout of the Emperor Star. No matter how my father wants to change it, I can satisfy my father's request. Sikong Sheng immediately put on the posture of a strong woman in the workplace, but it seemed a little funny under that cute appearance. Little Xing is really amazing. But now the layout of the Emperor Star is very satisfactory to Dad, and I have no thoughts of modifying it for the time being. Alright then. Sikong Sheng was a little disappointed. The father and daughter talked again, and then Nami excitedly took Sikong Sheng out of the captain's cabin and entered the reception cabin to introduce his daughter to other crew members. With the rat charm showing off his powers and being free from the drudgery of sailing, Nami clearly had something to show off. In the captain's room, Sikong Ye couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He hadn't had a girlfriend for more than 20 years in his previous life. He didn't expect that he was only 10 years old in this life, and he had a cute daughter. Life is so strange sometimes. Leaning on the edge of the console, Sikong Ye looked at his main task panel alone, wanting to confirm how much he still needs before he can upgrade to the next stage. Chapter 189 The Upgrade Conditions of the Emperor Star. The resourceful General Sengoku is deflated. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. HP 15.6 Kun Baiji Bushing Dian Now 15's FQ5057 TUD12 Die Intel Core i5 Chu Li Chi Windows 11 Jia Yang Band 15.6 inches, Dui Zhao. After all, Sikong Ye's main task at this stage is to make the East Blue famous. But now, he has come to the grand line. Sikong Ye opened the list of prerequisites under the main taskbar, and then one by one content came to his mind. Filled Diamond Recruit 10 partners. 15 tenths, completed. Diamond Suit Total Wealth exceeding 300 million. 7.6 billion, 300 million, completed. Diamond Suit Total Reward exceeding 300 million. 234 million, 300 million, unfinished. Filled Diamond offering a reward of over 100 million partners. 0/1, unfinished. Sikong Ye couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief when he saw that there were no sub-quest indicators in the preconditions of the main mission. The further you get to the back, the more difficult the side missions will be. If the system forces him to complete dozens of side missions, then he won't be able to upgrade the Emperor Star in a short time. The two indicators of recruitment tasks and wealth achievements have been exceeded. The only thing missing right now is the reward. Even including Robin's reward amount, the total reward is only more than 230 million Baileys, which is still more than 60 million Baileys. But Sengoku doesn't know what's going on in his head. It was delayed for more than a month, but no reward was given to them. As for a single partner offering a reward of over 100 million, in his opinion, it is not too difficult, at least with his strength, he still has a chance to hit it. Hey, I don't know when the next time the Emperor Star will be upgraded? Sikong Ye sighed. If he wanted to complete the famous task of East Blue, he finally had to rely on the reward order issued by Marine Naval Headquarters Marineford, Marshal's office. At this time, the reward order that Sikong Ye had been looking forward to was being ruthlessly abandoned by Sengoku in the corner of the desk. There are still a lot of documents pressed on the reward order. It is estimated that it will be a long time before Sengoku remembers to deal with the reward order of the Ziwei pirates. Sengoku sat on the office chair, still wearing the uniform of the Marine Marshal, looking solemn, as motionless as a mountain, exuding a majestic aura invisible from top to bottom. But in fact, Sengoku was holding a piece of material in a daze. Rosinante, if I knew something like that would happen, I shouldn't have arranged for you to go undercover in the Don Quixote family. Sengoku has aged 10 years since receiving the message from Garp. But even if this piece of information involved his adopted son Rosinante, he did not immediately order Virgo to be arrested. Instead, they secretly collected evidence about Virgo's contact with the Don Quixote family through the spy force secretly cultivated by their marine. Heaven pays off. The espionage unit did find tangible evidence of Virgo's secret connection with Doflamingo. And the information in his hand is the criminal evidence about Virgo. He had obtained this information as early as in the previous meeting. At the meeting, Sengoku arranged for Akainu and Zephyr to go to New World, ostensibly to maintain the order and stability of New World, but actually to capture Virgo, who was undercover in marine electricity. It's just that Sengoku naturally wouldn't be content with arresting a high-ranking cadre. His real goal is to arrest the entire Don Quixote family, including Doflamingo. It's a pity that Doflamingo is not just as simple as Shichibukai, but also has the special identity of the former celestial dragons, and is even covered by the 5 old guys in the Holy Land Marijoy. It is even more difficult to move Doflamingo. Sengoku took a deep breath and dialed 5 elders' phone bug. When the phone is connected, Sengoku will report the information at hand, and print a copy of the information to 5 elders through the printing phone bug. I hope I can use this incident to apply for permission to arrest Doflamingo. However, the 5 elders on the other end of the phone bug were silent for a while, and one of them swears at Sengoku. How did you become a marshal, and let a pirate undercover sit in such a high position as vice admiral and branch chief? So I'm trying to make amends now. If Doflamingo doesn't go into impel down for a day, where will my Sengoku face go? Sengoku's response was sonorous and forceful, with firmness and determination in his tone. Stop uttering wild words, Sengoku. What is your face? You Marines are nothing more than the outer face of the world government. Don't be too self-righteous. You Marine don't need to intervene in the matter of Doflamingo. I will hand it over to the CP organization. 5 elders directly vetoed Sengoku's proposal. Doflamingo is nothing more than a former celestial dragons. Are you going to let this guy ride on the marine and world government? Sengoku said angrily. Doflamingo's behavior is completely provoking marine authority. In addition, his adopted son Rosinante died at the hands of Doflamingo, and he did not intend to let Doflamingo go in public or privately. Keep your mouth shut, Sengoku. It's not your turn to teach us a lesson. Beep beep. After 5 elders said the last sentence, he hung up the phone directly. Boom. Sengoku beat the phone bug hard, feeling extremely resentful. Poor phone bug, just because he imitated the ugly look of 5 elders, Sengoku used it as a tool to vent his anger. Damn it. What secret did Doflamingo take from the holy land of Marijoy, and let those 5 old guys throw a mouse? HMPH, no matter what the secret is, Doflamingo can't even think about it. The 5 elders are strong enough to protect Doflamingo, and Sengoku will naturally not foolishly challenge the authority of celestial dragons, 5 elders, and the world government. Although he can't take action blatantly, he can hand over the task of dealing with Doflamingo to the Ziwei pirates. Based on the previous GARP deal with Sikong Ye at East Blue, their marine can arrange up to 3 special missions each year, which will be completed by the Ziwei pirates. As a result, Ziwei's group is fighting with the pirates of Don Quixote family. Presumably even if Doflamingo loses, 5 elders will not say anything. Of course, the current Ziwei pirates are not the opponents of the Don Quixote family. He planned to wait until Ziwei and his gang had enough strength and entered the New World before considering promulgating this special task. One Ziwei pirate group is not enough. It seems that Shinfan's undercover plan needs to be speeded up. Once the group of undercover agents are cultivated, and when the time comes to use the undercover agents to fight other pirate groups, their marines will be able to reap the benefits of the fishermen and gradually eat up all the pirates on the sea. Sengoku has a plan in mind. In fact, Shinfan's undercover plan is somewhat similar to the relationship between Luogia and Marine back then. For example, the Battle of Atwal, where Luogia fought Golden Lion, allowed their marine to take the opportunity to arrest a large number of Golden Lion's cadres. Lays the groundwork for the disintegration of Golden Lion's air pirates. In the Battle of the Valley of Gods, Luogia also helped Marine deal with the crazy and daring big pirate locks. Kaido, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and Bigumamu parted ways, establishing the dominance of Marine. Sengoku couldn't help but miss the old days when he could pick up leaks at any time. He paid more and more attention to Shinfan's undercover plan. Boo 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 boo. At this time, the voice of another phone bug suddenly rang. Sengoku opened the drawer and saw that it was Zephyr's call. Thinking of what he explained before, Sengoku immediately connected to the phone bug. Hey, Sengoku, Akainu and I will arrive at the G5 branch in 10 minutes. Far away in New World, the purple-haired wet instructor wearing sunglasses is talking to Sengoku on the phone in his naval ship office. At this time, Zephyr has not encountered Whitebeard 2 Wable and Ms. Barkin. His right arm is intact, and his mentality is much more stable than in the original book. He is still Admiral who everyone admires in Marine. Of course, now Zephyr is not Admiral but Instructor. In addition to Zephyr Instructor, there is a Kainu Admiral in the office. At this moment, the two looked solemn, and their knowledge were fully unfolded. They took strict precautions in all directions to ensure that the phone call would not be tapped. As for whether it would be intercepted and eavesdropped by other phone bugs, the two didn't care at all. The phone bugs used by their Marine senior generals are not ordinary phone bugs on the market, but high-end phone bugs that can prevent eavesdropping. Nuoqian Zhao, you said before that you would hand over the confidential task to us if I contacted you before arriving at the branch. What exactly is the task? Zephyr asked out the doubts in his heart. When he was in Marineford before, Admiral Sengoku had privately summoned him in Akainu, saying that he was going to give them a secret mission. But regarding the specific content of the mission, Sengoku refused to let go. He had to wait until the two of them were about to arrive at the New World G5 branch before agreeing to say it. It's like this. I got the news, and after confirmation, Virgo's true identity is the highest heart cadre of the Don Quixote family, who was installed by Doflamingo into the Marine. This move seriously provoked Marine's face. As the Marshal, I order you two to take down Virgo, regardless of life or death. Sengoku's resentful voice came from the phone bug, and FA Instructor and Akainu Admiral immediately frowned. That Virgo Vice Admiral, who was so strict in training, was Shichibukai Doflamingo's undercover agent in Marine. Boom. After confirming the authenticity of the matter, Akainu punched Zephyr's desk with a fist, his face extremely angry, like a volcano about to erupt lava. This group of damned pirates dared to challenge Marine's justice. Do you really think that becoming a Shichibukai can do whatever you want? I, Akainu, swear, I will kill this official. Chapter 190. Sir, there seems to be something glued to your face. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Zephyr frowned even more upon hearing this. As Admiral who does not kill, Zephyr has always captured pirates alive. Even if he is heinous, he will only be caught and imprisoned and impelled down. Therefore, I express my extreme resistance to Akainu's behavior of threatening to kill people at every turn. He was about to reprimand him when Sengoku spoke suddenly. What Doflamingo did was suppressed by the 5 elders. Even if the old man wants to arrest him, he can't be arrested, but Virgo's actions have stained his Marine uniform. No matter what, you can't let him go unpunished. On the other side of the phone bug, after hearing Akainu's murderous words, Sengoku felt for the first time that this guy was so attractive to him, but he had to explain that Juban suppressed Chiju's killing intent. Okay, I know about this matter, and I will give you a satisfactory explanation then. Zephyr nodded in agreement, then hung up the phone and looked at Akainu. However, before Zephyr could speak, Akainu spoke first. Mr. Zephyr, no matter what you want to say, I will not change my mind. Virgo has tarnished Marine's justice. I will never let him have a chance to live. You. Seeing Akainu's attitude that a dead dog is not afraid of boiling water, Zephyr shook his head and didn't bother to say anything. Although he doesn't kill Admiral, he doesn't force other Marines to do the same. Just when the warship Zephyr and Akainu were on was about to arrive at the G5 branch, the sailors of the G5 branch were already standing in line at the port, looking forward to it. The G5 branch is as big as 30 basketball courts. It is connected in series by several small islands, and expanded by land reclamation. The internal facilities of the island are complete, including office buildings, temporary prisons, and various training places, which can accommodate tens of thousands of sailors. There are dozens of warships moored in the port, and its scale can be seen as Madara. Most of the sailors have already lined up to welcome Zephyr and Akainu, while the head of the branch, Virgo Vice Admiral, finally arrived at the port without any haste. Virgo is wearing a plaid suit and sunglasses, with lightning-shaped folds on both sides of his cheeks and a beard around his chin. But what is surprising is that there is a yellow-brown long cylindrical object stuck to the left side of Virgo's cheek, but the person concerned did not notice it at all. When the adjutant came up to greet him, he happened to see a foreign object on the face of the branch chief, and immediately reminded Virgo Vice Admiral in a low voice. "Sir, did you eat something and forgot to wipe your mouth? There seems to be some food residue on your face." Virgo was taken aback. "No, I just went to the toilet just now." Adjutant. At this time, a picture appeared subconsciously in the mind of the adjutant. Hiss. Could it be that my own official ate something in the toilet? That yellowish-brown long tube-shaped object looks like a reincarnation of 5 grains. Could it be that my own official has such a heavy taste? Sir, you really have something stuck on your face. Why don't you check it in the mirror, in case Mr. Zephyr and Mr. Akainu see it? The effect will not be very good. The adjutant put it as tactfully as possible. If Zephyr and Akainu saw that Virgo's face was glued with the reincarnation of grains, they would be so angry that they would run away on the spot. I said I didn't eat if I didn't eat. Virgo didn't care. The adjutant didn't do anything to reassure him. He could only pray in his heart that Zephyr and Akainu would not notice the long yellowish-brown cylindrical object. Soon, the port of the Zephyr branch, Zephyr and Kai walked down first, followed by a heavily armed sailor. Most of the sailors disembarked and lined up, while a small number of sailors remained on the warship to prevent people with ulterior motives from sneaking into the warship. Zephyr and Akainu stepped off the warship, and did not act rashly, but waited until Wilgen and his deputy rushed up and acted decisively. In just 3 or 5 rounds, Virgo was subdued by Zephyr and Akainu. Akainu vowed to kill Virgo but didn't do it. It's not that he was soft-hearted, but Zephyr told him that he could lure Doflamingo out through Virgo. Because of this, Akainu temporarily dismissed his plan to kill Virgo. The adjutant stood where he was, with beads of sweat on his forehead. It's over. The dirty things on the face of his own parents really caught the attention of the 2 big bosses, and the beating was obviously a fact. I just don't know if the head of the family can keep his position. It is said that the officers of naval headquarters all have great tempers, and it is impossible to say that they will directly dismiss all positions because of the image of their own officers. Hey wait, if Mr. Virgo is really dismissed, wouldn't he have a chance to be promoted to Vice Admiral and serve as branch chief? While the adjutant was chuckling, Akainu's voice suddenly came. After investigation, Virgo is involved in a major case and is now in custody. Marine's face always comes first, so Zian did not tell everyone the truth. However, this scene made the adjutant more convinced of his guess. Sure enough, the rumors that the generals of naval headquarters would accuse anyone who was upset would not be groundless. However, as a bystander and a person with vested interests, the adjutant naturally dared not say anything or ask anything. After Virgo was arrested, Zephyr returned to the warship and dialed the phone bug of Marshal Sengoku again to report the matter. On the other end of the phone, after hearing the news of Virgo's arrest, Sengoku responded briefly and hung up the phone in a hurry. At this time, there was no one in the marshal's office except Sengoku, and Sengoku immediately covered his face and wept, half of which was joy after avenging Rosinante, and the other half was endless grief. Bia. What good would it be if one of the culprits who killed Rosinante was arrested? His adopted son was dead and would never live again. Wait. Sengoku seemed to remember something important, and hurriedly rummaged through the pile of documents on his desk. Seeing the reward order that Sikong Ye and others had drawn up but hadn't issued yet, Sengoku threw it aside without thinking and continued to search. Soon, Sengoku found a document at the bottom of the file pile. When he investigated the secrets of the year, he discovered a very special person. The information given by Sikong Ye made him more convinced that this person had a lot to do with Rosinante. Trafalgar Law. This 14-year-old boy suffered from platinum lead disease since he was a child. He met Rosinante when he was 10 years old, and the reason why Rosinante died was inseparable from Luo. Of course, this relationship is not hatred, and Sengoku will naturally not go to trouble Luo. But, Rosinante is my adopted son, and Luo was rescued by Rosinante. Strictly speaking, he can also be counted as Rosinante's adopted son. If rounded up, Luo is my adopted grandson? Hey, this old man has a grandson too. I won't be jealous if that old fellow Garp shows off his grandson in the future. Sengoku laughed through his tears, and after laughing, he began to think about how to find Luo and bring Lola to the marine camp. It's just that this idea just rose, and then suppressed it back. Luo ate op fruit. Once recruited by Marine, 5 elders will definitely force Lola to join the CP organization and play for Celestial Dragons. This hurt Luo instead. No, instead of recruiting Luo into the Marine, it's better for the son to inherit his father's business and let Luo participate in Shinfan's undercover plan. Sengoku is a man of action, he does what he thinks, and immediately calls Chong to contact Staff Crane to discuss related matters. Taking advantage of the arrival of Staff Crane, Sengoku thought for a while and took out all the information of Rosinante and fed it to the little goat next to the desk. The less people know about Luo's relationship with Rosinante, the better. His adopted son is gone, and he doesn't want his adopted grandson to suffer any accidents. The kid with the bell around its neck gave Sengoku a blank look, and resignedly chewed the dry, ink-smelling paper. You stingy old man, you know how to feed Ben with waste paper every day. Is it true that Ben has eaten shredder fruit? Can you give me a better meal? I have been constipated recently, otherwise I will definitely spray you with sheep shit. The little goat complained wildly in his heart, but on the surface he was still eating waste paper. No way, it can only starve if it doesn't eat waste paper. North Blue. This is a magical sea. Among them, there are as many great figures as the Crucian carp crossing the river. Staff Crane, Akainu Admiral Sakazuki, Kizaru Admiral Bluzolino, Sanji, Luo, Hawkins, Drake, etc., are all strong players from North Blue. Of course, the Vince Moke family, the Bellamy Pirates, and the Don Quixote Pirates also come from North Blue. The Kingdom of Lubni, as the hometown of Nolondo, the main character in North Blue's best-selling fairy tale, Nolondo the Deceitful, has stood in North Blue for hundreds of years. Because of its long history, it has driven economic development early, and now it has become one of the most prosperous countries in North Blue. Cook City, a large city located west of the Kingdom of Lubni. The streets are full of flowers, and there is an endless stream of people coming and going. Countless shops stand on both sides, and the business is booming. One of the small shops had the words, House of Astrology, written on the signboard, obviously making a living by fortune-telling. The fortune-teller in the astrology room has flowing blonde hair and is young, only 19 years old. There is armor on the left arm, a black cross tattooed on the Adam's apple, black trousers and a white shirt with ruffled open arms. Slender, with the iconic 6 pads vertical lines on the forehead, vertical eyebrows, and facial features that give people a melancholy and frightening temperament.